the Steve 1988-9 MRE info. It's just this dude who, I don't know, he could be in his mom's basement for all I know, but like he's
Probably,
just like,
let's be real.
I don't know, dude, but he just orders. He's like a dude in his like late 20s, but he just orders these old rations and MREs from eBay and like a whole bunch of other places on the internet.
Oh, that's the dark web. See, I would do an MRE, but I don't know if I do an MRE from eBay.
Hey, come on.
Can't
be
That sounds extra sketch. All right,
but
good.
I mean, he gets these MREs, man, and he busts them open, and if it looks okay, man, he just goes to town. He stuffs them in his mouth, like, and just eats it, like all of it. It's fine. He does like very old MREs, he does new MREs,
Wow.
but he like imports them from like Europe and Japan and things.
I know that some of those last about 15 years. I mean, but surely there's some expiration date or something on there before he just starts shoveling them into his gullet.
So, I mean, there's some things he just won't go near. Like, if it's old, really, really old, like canned vegetables or fruit, he won't go near it, because there's that stuff called what's it called? It basically turns poisonous after a certain amount of time.
Oh, gross.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's I forget the name of I can't remember the name, but I'll have to look it up afterwards. But anyway, it basically turns poisonous, and he's like, yeah, I'm not eating that, even if it looks okay. Mainly, usually when he opens these things, he actually finds like crackers, cookies, still like gum, candy that are completely intact.
Yes.
and edible.
Oh, for sure.
Ready to eat cigarettes.
I'm sure there's a bacon McDouble in there too as well that looks pristine.
Dude, some of the meat ones that he breaks. So like most of the time, if he gets the older ones that are like 40, 50 plus years old, and there's like canned meat or something in there.
Whoa, dude, 40, 50 years?
Yeah.
That's
like
rolling the dice.
Like, that's what I'm saying, dude. This guy's got the digestive tract of a cow or something. Like, this guy is insane. Like, I don't know. He's like, yeah, he said in one video, he's like, yeah, I don't have health insurance, nor do I have dental insurance. So,
Look.
Oh, no. Nor does he have life insurance then.
yeah, no shit.
I am a man. I will eat Spam. You know, I will eat canned meat, but I would not ever touch 50-year-old Spam.
No. Here's the thing.
No.
He doesn't do old meat, because usually most of the time what happens is the juices and stuff and the meat actually corrode out of the cans or whatever they're in. And they usually just turn to a fossil by the time he gets to them.
Okay, that's kind of cool, though.
Just becomes petrified.
Basically.
Wow.
And a lot of the times he has to like, okay, let me stop. I'm going to go put on a mask. So he puts on a fucking gas mask.
Appropriate. Yeah, that sounds about right.
To open because some of these fucking fumes that are coming out of these things are like, dude, it's like old as hell.
Dude, what do you
like,
think his room smells like now?
Dude, I can't imagine. It looks like he's in a basement or some shit, but he's got like a whole bunch of military shit that he's got on display in his room.
Wow.
And
Fitting.
so like this guy, like on top of all of that, like he's just showing like these really old rations, and it's a very like almost kind of soothing way he presents these videos. But he's also really nice to listen to, and he's kind of fucking awkward and like funny in the best way.
What is
so
this?
Like he's got like the Southern California thing going on in his voice, and he'd be like, "All right, now we got it open. Now let's get this onto a tray. Nice. All right." Like
I'm just imagining a surfer boy, but got tired of surfing and decided, you know what else is cool? Old MREs.
dude,
Yeah,
it's pretty much exactly what it is. You see him, and he's got kind of like the long, slick back hair, and he's got the goatee mustache combo going on.
Oh, wow.
Perfect.
Yeah, dude. And he's like, but it's so funny because every time, especially when he gets MREs with like cigarettes in them, he gets so excited. He's like, "Oh yeah, look at these perfectly preserved Camel Light, no filter."
Collin. How many katana swords are hanging on the wall behind him?
Dude, surprisingly none. I thought he was gonna like tip his fedora at the screen and just like whip out his katana. I'm like, damn, dude, that's
It's coming.
Yeah, but like, so every video at some point like zooms out on him like eating the food, and then like he's like, it's got like a decadent, earthy flavor. It's like just the way he says things is the greatest thing.
Sounds like he's his own color commentator.
Dude, I guess. I don't know. But I've seen so many of his videos by now to the point where I'm actually like, I've seen this one. I've seen this one. I've seen this one. I've seen this one. Like, oh, but like some of the shit he does though, like his video is actually saying the title like oldest blank ever eaten. So he's having like a video like the oldest chocolate ever eaten, the oldest so the craziest one was oldest hardtack cracker ever eaten, 150 years old from the Civil War.
Oof. Oh my gosh. He's asking for it, dude.
He almost broke his damn tooth on the thing, man.
Oh, I believe it.
It's ridiculous. But
that's crazy.
Steve, 1989 MRE info.
We should probably get this thing started though, yeah?
Yeah.
So welcome to the Tiny Disc Podcast, TDP. I am Robert Scarpanito, and I'm joined here by Jack Cepeda.
Hey, everybody.
And Collin Sparling.
What's going on, everyone?
Yeah. So if I remember right, you two have seen War for the Planet of the Apes?
Yes. It was a good movie. It was I don't really know what to say. It's the final piece of the trilogy for the new Planet of Apes series, and
so that's what I was going to ask. That's the end of this like installment of the franchise. Like that's like it's the trilogy.
Yeah, and so we should also preface that Collin and I have seen it in its entirety, and we're going to try and not be very spoilery here, but we are going to be talking about our thoughts about the movie. So look at the timestamps in the notes if you want to skip ahead. We're not going to try and spoil it too much, but we might talk a little bit about it. Like, for instance, Collin, your question just now about, is this the end? I think pretty definitively after seeing this, it's like, yeah, this is the end of a saga, right? Like it comes to an end, which leads perfectly into the original Planet of the Apes movie with Charlton Heston. And there's so many ties to that. So
gotcha.
So yeah, so I think that this is the last one we can expect to see with the characters in it now.
Wait, are you telling me that the newest series, the newest trilogy, is a prequel to the one back in the 80s, 90s?
Oh, it always was.
Oh, okay.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Not the 80s, 90s. Isn't this like way back in the 70s?
Oh, yeah, 70s.
Yeah, it is the 70s.
This is Charlton Heston. Yeah, it has always been that.
Okay, I always thought it was like a whole reboot. Like, let's retell a whole new story.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's a prequel / gritty reboot sort of kind of thing. But the end of this movie ties perfectly into the classic.
Okay.
So the 2001 Marky Mark remake, was that just a remake of one from the 70s?
Dude, that was a Tim Burton movie.
Really?
And yeah, that was a Tim Burton movie, and Marky Mark was in. I remember that. I think I was kind of crazier back then, even crazier than I am now, and I would take a day, guys, and I would schedule it and plan it and have 3 movies in a row. Like I'd go on a Saturday at like 10 a.m. and not leave till like 11 p.m. and watch 3 movies and like have lunch.
Wow.
Yeah, and have lunch. Like at Lenox, I did this. That's where I saw that movie. Was at not at Lenox, at Easton actually. And And let's see here. So I think that same day I watched like The Spirits Within, like Final Fantasy, and I think I watched. I feel like I watched Jurassic Park 3 as well, which is the worst dinosaur movie I've ever seen in my entire life. But I digress. So yeah, this is a lot. This is divorced from that Planet of the Apes movie. This is its own series. There's no real references or anything like that.
Okay, so
gotcha.
I'm someone who only saw like the first movie, like the first of the new trilogy, the reboot / prequel.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I just wasn't gripped enough by it. Like I was someone who walked out of that theater thinking, I wouldn't want to see a sequel, or I'm not expecting a sequel.
Interesting.
You know?
Considering how that one ends, it's kind of cliffhangery.
Yeah, but I also felt like, man, don't care. You know?
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah,
it's well documented how I feel about James Franco, so I was kind of glad to see him go. But Collin, let's start with you, man. I want to know kind of what your thoughts are of the film. Again, trying not to be too spoilery, but like I want to know what you think of it. To get my general opinion out there, I enjoyed the movie quite a bit actually. I was kind of in the same spot kind of in the same mindset Robert is. Like I saw Rise and I saw Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and I was like, okay, so Rise was pretty good. Like it was a pretty good story and like how this whole thing began. Rise was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was like I thoroughly enjoyed that movie too, but it was never really a franchise that I just gravitated towards, and like it really gripped me. Like I wasn't really. And then I heard like all the good criticism that the new one was getting, War of the Planet of the Apes, and I was like, why not? Let's go see it. And I was glad I did, man. Like I would see that movie again. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Probably more than the last one.
But yeah, I mean, it was a generally good movie. It was, what I liked about it was it didn't have like too much going on, like the story, like, you know, there wasn't too many like storylines to follow. It was like one straightforward story. That's what you followed through the movie, and like it made you feel for the characters, and the acting was really good in the film. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. What'd you think?
Well, Andy Serkis is gonna do what Andy Serkis gonna do.
Oh yeah, that's right. Andy Serkis did the mocap.
He's so good. He is. I think absolutely deserves to be nominated for an Oscar for this performance. It's incredible what he's done. And
has he ever won an Oscar, like, for himself?
No, that's the thing. He's been completely overlooked this whole time. For the last 15 years, he's been doing some awesome stuff. He's now stepping into the director's chair for another project in the future. But man, I think his performance was incredible. And one important aspect of War for the Planet of the Apes is that after seeing, we discussed it last week with the trailer for Thor Ragnarok and especially Justice League, but War for the Planet of the Apes really fooled my like lizard brain right into thinking like I'm looking at something that's actually real. These apes are really in this building. They're really here. The CG looks incredible.
Dude, I was actually gonna mention that. The CG was insane in that movie.
10 out of 10. Like I mean, they were not scared either to get really close up into their faces and get into, like, you could see their pores. You can see like the light bouncing in and out of like just like, you know, the wrinkles in their eyelids and everything. It was awesome.
It looks so good. The part that blew my mind is when they zoomed in on the orangutan. What was his name?
I can't remember.
Was it Maurice?
Oh,
anyway, yeah, that sounds right. Anyway, the part where like he, I don't think this is spoiling much, but where he sees the little girl and they do like a really hard zoom in, and I was like, holy shit! That CG, part was like it.
Yeah, that part was really so awkward though. That was an awkward moment. I was like, what are they doing in this film?
Yeah,
that was actually a turning point for me in the film. So just to delve into this a little bit deeper. Where I stand on this series is I very much enjoyed the first movie, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Rise of the Planet of the Apes was kind of like the series Dark Knight. It was the dark middle chapter that we've come to know and expect. And
did I have them flipped?
Maybe I have them flipped. The second movie is the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay. Like I know what you're talking about, but like, because I said them in the opposite order.
Okay, I think it was Dawn and then Rise, or who knows. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Can you fact check that, Robert?
Yeah, yep. The second one. So anyways, I very much love that movie. I love the intro. I love just the cinematography. I love the pacing of it. I loved Koba as the villain. There's so much to enjoy. The arc just really worked well for me. The story, the script, everything. So that's why I was so hyped for War for the Planet of the Apes.
So just to interject real quick, it is Rise in 2011, Dawn in 2014, and then War 2017.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Cool. So yeah, thank you for that. So this movie, what Matt Reeves has done with the first, I'd say 25 to 30% of this film, is really sold me on him working on the next Batman movie. It was incredible. The first quarter of this movie was one of the best. It seemed like one of the best movies I've ever seen, to be quite honest with you. It was on the caliber of a Nolan film, with the scene where you first are introduced to the villain, played by, oh man, why can't I remember his name?
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson, yeah. When that whole scene, right? And the cinematography and the war scenes in the beginning, I was like, this is incredible. And then right around the part where the orangutan and the girl meet, and that's that awkward silence, right about there afterwards, the movie completely changes. And it like dog legs completely into a different film. And it becomes very kind of sloggy to me and very illogical. And it kind of broke the film for me. And then the ending, I thought, was handled poorly again. It just seemed like they were rushed to finish this film for whatever reasons. I know Matt Reeves is already moving on to his next film, obviously, and things are going on. But I think that this movie up front is front-loaded with some of the best stuff in this entire series. And then it kind of veers off. So I can't sit here and say this is my favorite of the three. Part 2 is definitely the best. And I would say maybe even part 1. So this might be my least favorite in this trilogy, but it is worth watching just to get the arc of it. And again, the first, I would say 30, 40 minutes of this film are some of the best, one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. It's just unfortunate, I think, what happened at the end. I'm curious to hear in the post-mortem, what maybe contributed to it falling apart.
Okay.
So I'm just curious, would you recommend it though, Jack, in terms of like just a good summer blockbuster like popcorn movie?
I can't, I'm sad to say, because there are some really quality movies out there, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, etc. If you're going to watch one or two blockbuster movies, I can't really recommend this one. It gets just a little too awkward for me. And again, the plot holes later in the film. Again, not trying to be too spoilery here, but I would say this is one to definitely wait till it's on Netflix or on HBO. And you don't need to see this in theaters. Yeah, that's kind of my final thoughts on it. But I'd love to get into it a little bit deeper if you want to talk about it, Collin.
Yeah. I tend to not critique movies near as hard, but I can definitely see where you're coming from with a lot of what you're saying, for sure, because the part right up until, like you say, the turning point where we meet the little girl, right. Up in that point, the plot kind of shifts into a direction that you don't really expect, because it kind of leads you to believe, I guess, it's going to be like three monkey bros going on an adventure.
The movie completely changes.
Yeah,
there. I think it completely shifts into a weird direction where here's the thing. This series has never gone to this direction before, but hundreds and thousands of movies in the past have gone to where this movie is in the second and third act. Does that make sense, Robert?
Yeah, I guess. It's
just rehashing
ground.
Yeah, it's just rehashing a bunch of different genres. Things have already been done before, but now it's like, oh, well, this time it's apes. And I'm like, for me, that's not enough. Like, there's scenes that are just straight out of the 12 Years a Slave. There's scenes straight out of any, kind of war movie you've seen. I don't know. It just didn't grab me. Sad to say, but that's the truth.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Like, it's definitely not like a movie I would go back to over and over again or anything like that. Just like the previous two. And you also had a lot more legs to stand on with your argument, because it's just been so long since I've seen the previous two. But yeah, like I can kind of agree with you. Yeah, it definitely did it kind of followed some tropey type plot line towards the end there, didn't it?
A lot. I mean, you see it just rehashed a bunch of scenes that have been done in movies over and over again, just with people, right? Or right. not just apes this time. So, for that reason alone, I can't really recommend it. But I will say, I think the first movie is great. I think the second movie is excellent, and I think this one's just okay.
Okay. So kind of a good start, a rise, then a kind of a fall.
Yeah. I think that just they proved it. I mean, I'm telling you, I can't tell you enough on the first part of this movie. They proved they can put a cohesive, awesome, compelling, very emotionally invested storyline in together and make it work. The first quarter of the movie works exceptionally well, among the best in the series, and then just again, the plot takes a weird turn. It doesn't lead to a very satisfying ending either, especially if you don't even know that it's supposed to lead into the classic movie. You're gonna forget. A lot of things are gonna go over your head. Like, we meet characters in this movie that have only been seen in the Charlton Heston film. Okay. And so you're supposed to, for fans of this series, you're supposed to like hear someone's name and then be like, oh, that's who that is, and oh, that's who that is, but if you don't know, then it's going to go completely over your head. So I mean, and that's not to like, I wouldn't say it's to take away though from the writing of the characters. I think the characters were very well written. Like, they were very likable. Like, they almost they personified them very well. I feel like Caesar. Like, I cared about Caesar's character. Like, I cared about Maurice's character. Yeah. I cared about the other character, and especially the comic relief character that comes in. But incredibly, yeah. Steve Zahn does an incredible job. Bad Ape is the name of his character, and he was the comic relief of the film, and there has never been a character like him in the series, and I completely agree. Like, I really appreciated his presence and his role, and Steve Zahn as an ape, man, he sold it to me. Him and Andy Serkis were phenomenal in this film.
Yes, yeah, and I mean, there was a tremendous amount of effort put into this film. It's just that the plot just got tropey towards the end, and that's what kind of killed it.
The thing also for me, I should say that I think that Woody Harrelson was completely miscast in this. I just don't know why. Yeah, I didn't like him.
I thought he did a very good job.
No, he did a good job, but he's still Woody Harrelson at the end of the day. They're going for the Apocalypse Now kind of role, right? Like the crazy bald general leader who leads his rogue squadron, Delta Force, and just does some dirt. And I don't know. I didn't like him as a villain. I think there could have been a better choice with that. So with me not believing that he could be as strong a general as he is depicted in this film, or as inspirational or motivational as I think the script wants us to believe, it just kind of all fell apart for me with that. So I think the bad guy being weak, and not to speak bad of Woody Harrelson, he did his thing. It's just I think he was miscast.
Yeah, I like Woody Harrelson though, but I guess you I'm the same way with Colin Farrell though. I can't take Colin Farrell seriously in anything. we've talked about before. So yeah. Fair enough.
To me, Woody Harrelson being in, if you remember me talking about this previously, was a selling point. I was like, oh yeah, Woody Harrelson, I'm ready, and it just didn't pan out.
Mm-hmm.
Right on
for me.
So speaking of not being able to take characters seriously, I kind of want to pan this conversation towards something else. So this last Sunday was the season 3 episode 2 premiere of Rick and Morty. Anyone here watch that?
Beginning the 100 years of Rick and Morty.
Yeah. Now, Jack, you're not really into Rick and Morty, right?
Not because I don't want to be. My wife and we tried to watch it as recently as this past Sunday, and we started at the start, right? We started with season 1, episode 1. And I know she's a huge fan of Adventure Time, so I don't know if there's a big transfer, but I thought there might be a chance at least. And so I said, hey, honey, let's sit down, let's watch this, get some popcorn, let's try it out. I want to know what you think of it. And so we put it on. We got about we got about maybe 10 minutes in, and she's like, I can't do it. It's when I don't know if you remember the first episode ever, but it's when the horse is getting the open heart surgery.
Yep.
And that was a part, and its legs are up in the air and its chest is all open. That was a part where she's nope. She had cover up. She's like, I can't watch this. It's too gross. She's comparing it to Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, I love that episode.
And I like Ren and Stimpy too, but I can kind of come from, I would have kept watching it, but she kind of checked out, and so I was like, all right, we'll watch something else. No big deal. It's kind of, so the guy, all right, I'm new to this series, right? So I don't know their names, but Morty is Rick's grandson?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, now I think that this looks like something out of Back to the Future, Marty.
That's what it's going for.
Okay, yeah, Marty and Doc.
Yep, that's exactly.
That's the point. Morty. That's exactly the point.
Okay, well, it totally is evident in that, but I just hear about this show all the time, getting referenced. It seems to be kind of like the new South Park or the new kind of It series. And I know that they have delved into virtual reality and been, semi-successful in that, the VR game. I mean,
oh yeah, no, yeah,
that's what I'm referencing.
He's taking him off the grid.
See, all these references going completely over my head, but apparently they're funny for some reason. I'll let you guys talk more about this though, because I'm kind of on the fringe here.
Okay, so I will say, when you started talking about episode 1, when you were saying I started watching it with my wife, I was trying to think back what did happen in episode 1. And then I remembered, oh yeah, a grandfather asks his grandson to shove giant seeds up his ass so he can.
You gotta stick him way up there, Morty.
And I was like, well, that might be another red flag, huh?
Okay, so we didn't even get there. That was happened later in the episode because that's news to me.
Yeah, no, that happens in that episode.
Wow. Love this show so much.
Yeah, it's a great show. But no, so by the time season 3 rolls around, some kind of significant character development does happen. I mean, I guess, I don't know, is it really spoilers? Because I mean, season 2 has been around for a while, but I guess
Rick and Morty spoilers, everybody.
Yeah, so I guess if you really don't want to be spoiled on a show that doesn't live by its hard hitting plot, skip to the next timestamp. But essentially at the end of season 2, you kind of see Rick kind of take a turn. Maybe he's going to be a nicer guy, maybe he's going to be less mean. And then season 3 just plays with your emotions or plays with your expectations and is like, nah. And they kind of go full force with they're now not only reminding you that Rick doesn't care about anyone, but they're really forcing it down your throat, that he's only out for himself in that Szechuan sauce.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like Morty. An absolute madman, Rick.
Yeah, Yeah,
that's what he's going for. And is he always drooling, or is that a season 1 thing?
No, yeah, that's always a thing. Like there's a part in season 3, episode 1, where he's like jumping body to body, and each of those new bodies start drooling or like as well. You know, just to show you like, oh yeah, that's Rick.
You know, one of my first exposures to this series was not even a clip from the show, but it's when they did a rereading of an actual court transcript that took place, I want to say, in Georgia. Mm-hmm. And they did a premiere of that. It might have been at South by Southwest, but it was like a black and white. It was in a movie theater, and it was hilarious. And the fact that it was an actual real transcript that took place like in the United States of America, it made it even that much funnier with their delivery. So that was when I was like, oh, this might be funny. You know, let's investigate it further.
Yeah, no, it's...
By the way, on a side note, it's the same guy that voiced the Rick and Morty. Like, they're voiced by the same guy.
Yep.
I did not know that. Are you serious?
No, it's the same guy.
That's the same dude?
It's the same dude.
It's the same guy.
Yep.
Are there plots are they like improvised?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
So in both season 1 and 2, and hopefully in season 3, we'll see. They have
interdimensional cable.
Yeah, they have an episode in both seasons where Rick basically hooks up a TV with cable from all possible existing infinite universes ever. And every time they change the channel, that's basically the writers and the voice actors kind of doing improv and then animating whatever they improvise and making it a thing. Like,
so it's one episode a season.
Yeah, and I mean, there's like another there's a plot B going on too. Well, really, the TV is more the B plot. You know, it's
interesting.
It's a thing there. You know, there are things like they make believe that there's a fantasy sports event called Man versus Car, where it's a man
who would pit a real man versus a regular old car.
Yeah, and they animate that.
So so they record, they improvise in the studio, record the vocals first, and then they animate to whatever's recorded. Is
pretty
that
much
right?
I think so. Yeah,
that's pretty hilarious. Actually, that's a funny idea. That seems to be the expensive way to do it.
I mean, hey, it's worth it. Those scenes are priceless. They're very good.
Oh, they're so great.
I'll have to check out some clips on YouTube.
Yeah. But to get back to season 3, episode 2, they do a Mad Max thing. Like the whole
Mad
episode.
Max Fury Road parody. Yeah.
They do a whole just like the entire episode is Mad Max, and it's incredible. Because at this point in the story, the family's kind of being broken up by divorce. So it's like the kids trying to cope, and instead of going to drugs or tattoos or something, instead one of them just kind of becomes a bloodthirsty barbarian in the Mad Max universe.
As you do.
Yeah. And then, I mean, they both kind of do, technically.
Yeah. And then, Morty gets like a rabid steroided arm that has it's basically a sentient being in his arm that kills things.
Yeah.
It just...
Oh my gosh.
You know what that reminds me people's faces off?
That reminds me of Bionic Commando on Xbox 360. Like, few years back, the dude has a bionic arm that is haunted by the ghost of his dead wife.
Yep. I remember that.
I'm not making this up.
It was amazing.
Robert can corroborate.
Why have I never played this?
Okay,
because it wasn't that good.
It's not a great game, but
it's in my Steam library.
My goodness, it's worth it just for the ghost wife arm.
Ghost wife arm.
No, but I think with Rick and Morty, it's like, I mean, I don't want to say too much about the episode, right, in case people haven't seen it yet, or people who are like really interested in seeing it. But no, I think Rick and Morty's only going to get better from here on out, and that's a tall order because season 1 and 2 delivered so very well. Like, people were dying for a season 3, and I think season 3 is definitely going to deliver, if not excel at that. If episodes 1 and 2 are any measure to go by.
Is this going to be is it even a question that the series is going to continue?
I mean, they say that Rick and Morty Forever is going to be a thing, but
9 more seasons. But 9 more seasons, Morty.
Realistically, knowing especially how Dan Harmon works, I don't see it existing forever.
Unpack that a little bit. Who is that guy, and how does he work?
Yeah, so Dan Harmon, he's one of the co-creators of Rick and Morty. He's I think one of the head writers, and then he created the series with Justin Roiland. And I'm not as familiar with Justin Roiland's work, but I'm pretty sure he works on like Adventure Time or something, right? Like, he worked on
Justin Roiland.
Yeah, I think he worked on some other
that sounds so familiar.
Cartoon that's pretty beloved by adults, but Yeah. Justin Roiland is the guy, though, who voices both Rick and Morty.
Okay.
So Dan Harmon, he is pretty known for butting heads a lot, and like he's the reason why the band split up for creative differences. You know what I mean?
I see.
He's that kind of guy.
Okay. Yeah. I've run into those people in my own life.
Yeah.
So say no more.
Yeah. So he's a genius. He's very much a comedic genius. Like I don't know if you guys are familiar with the show Community that ran on NBC for a while.
Right.
And then,
of course.
That is one of my favorite shows, and I'd highly recommend it to anyone who's into like good, clever humor. And Dan Harmon's comedy is is permeating that show, and you can see a bit of it kind of transfer into Rick and Morty. But Community lasted 3 seasons, then he was kicked off of the 4th season, then they brought him back for the 5th season that was originally never going to happen, and then the show got canceled, and then there was a 6th season on Yahoo Screen that Dan Harmon was on, and now there looks to be no more Community ever again. I mean, the 6th season was supposed to be the end of it, but they always joke about having a movie, and yet to be seen. So
interesting. So this guy's like an evil genius in some kind of ways.
Right. So because of that rocky history with Community, I wouldn't be surprised if like Rick and Morty didn't last forever. I mean, because there was rumor that season 3 was partially delayed for him butting heads with Justin, even though he keeps saying to the contrary, like, no way, we didn't butt heads. It's just classic delays.
Interesting. Okay. Because like I said, I keep hearing about the show being referenced in pop culture, and there's always clips out there of just funny moments in the show. And so it seems like this is kind of the it show right now. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and they break the fourth wall a lot. And like notably at the end of season 2, they have a little clip where Mr. Poopy Butthole, the character,
that's his name.
That's his name.
Yes, that's his name, Mr. Poopy Butthole. See you guys in a year and a half for the next season.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So.
Yeah. No, I think season 3 episode 2 got me very excited for what the rest of season 3 has to offer. I don't really know how many episodes are slated, but I'd be willing to expect like 13, 14 episodes ish, around that ballpark, just keeping in line with the first 2 seasons.
I heard 10 episodes.
10 episodes? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me either.
Too many shows out there, guys. I still am behind on Game of Thrones. It's my great shame in life right now. Collin,
dude, me too.
I know you're a big... Okay, I was going to ask you. I know you're a big Lord of the Rings guy. Are you into the Game of the Thrones?
I actually just picked it back up this past weekend because I was at a friend of mine was house sitting, and we just sat at that house and watched Game of Thrones with this awesome surround sound system.
Where are you in the series?
About halfway through season 2.
Oh, you're way behind that. You're way behind.
Yeah, I'm pretty behind. Okay. And I just started Stranger Things today because I'm mooching off my friend's Netflix. And Stranger Things is so great.
Another show that's great. I need to start on that too. Like these are like my great shames. So I am about maybe 30% through last season in Game of Thrones. So I'm really close. Like I can get current. I just need like to just take a weekend or something to get there. Stranger Things as well. Season 2's coming up.
Yep, October 27th.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that I started like Stranger Things, and I'm really mad at myself for not starting it earlier because Stranger Things is like right up my alley. It's got the strong 80s vibe going on because obviously it takes place in the 80s.
Okay, no spoilers. No spoilers. Just don't say it.
No, like I'm not going to spoil. I've only seen the first episode.
Okay.
And it's got got that really strong 80s movie aesthetic going on, and the music is perfect, and it's everything about it just speaks to me. And the show starts with kids sitting around a table playing D&D.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's pretty awesome so far.
I've heard some comparisons to Stranger Things and the It trailer that has recently dropped.
I could see
Stephen King remake. I could see
so yeah,
I wonder, how that's going to pan out when that movie comes out here next month. I'm really looking forward to that movie, by the way, as well.
So I think it's time to move on to the gaming segment of our little show here. So Jack,
Collin, will you sing the gaming music section part? Will you do the intro real quick?
Wait, what?
Yeah, will you sing sing it. We talked about this already. Go ahead, do it.
Wait, what? I'm so confused. What's
You're
happening?
Singing the music to transition to the gaming part. Go.
I am. Okay, this is the gaming part. Hello.
Great song. 10 out of 10.
Oh man, that was good. Good
nominated
stuff.
for a Grammy.
Way to
I
stick
think
the landing, bro.
Yeah,
I just set it up. You knock him down.
This is the gaming part of the podcast. Yeah.
Man, that was a gigantic failure. Okay. Speaking of,
yeah, it was.
That was the sound of one hand clapping.
Yep.
Yeah.
So all three of us did play Gigantic though this weekend, didn't we? In one form or another.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. So Jack, you did talk about it a lot last week.
Yeah.
And I mentioned how that kind of sounds right up my alley, so I actually downloaded it myself and played a bit. And Collin, you downloaded it on Xbox Live to not play it on Xbox Live, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I played it a bit more with Jack. Jack, did you play much more aside from those nights that you and I played?
Not really, no. Just because time and life and everything like that. I did devote, what were we playing? 2.5 hours maybe?
I think we only played like 3 or 4 games maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so we played yesterday and I didn't play much more aside from that, but I did get a look at some new characters. We did get to play on some other maps that I haven't played before and just kind of get a feel for the game flow. So I'm definitely going to stick with it. I'm going to learn more. I'm still weighing whether or not I'm going to buy that starter pack to unlock all the heroes. Mm-hmm. But it's not necessary because I think, it kind of rotates, it seems, to have 5 available heroes at all times.
Yeah.
So it's not 100% necessary to just spend money. It's really more if you want to.
It uses
to get the rest.
It uses a League of Legend rotation system where like only some of the champions are available every week.
Yeah, and so I was enjoying it. I was having a good time. We did get our butt whooped a few times, more than a few times actually. Mm-hmm. But that's part of learning a new game and for me a whole new genre really. The main observation I took away is that the game is very, very deep. I still don't know much about the skill progression. Mainly, I find myself just hitting the auto level up, just whatever the recommended skill is. I just hit that number 1 button over and over again just to get leveled and get stronger throughout the match. But
yeah,
I definitely need to delve deeper into that, and I need to spend a lot of time, like maybe multiple hours, like learning like a character in practice mode to get to be really effective with that character in real player versus player situations. So those are things that are on the top of my mind. And then one observation I had, again, that you only really start feeling this when you start really getting your hands dirty in the game and getting into scrums and getting into matches. But my main takeaway from the combat of this game is that it's loose feeling. It doesn't feel great. I don't ever really feel like I'm really hitting hard or I'm really know exactly how to use my skills and take advantage of certain situations. And I'm also finding it difficult to learn when I should like start retreating or when I should do what. So it's going to take some time, but I think just a deeper problem with the game I'm having so far is that, again, it's that loose feeling. And I was thinking like, well, what games really give me a satisfying feeling when I'm in combat? And it's Blizzard games. That's one of the main hallmarks, is that there's such great visual cues and it just feels good and it sounds good too. There's audio cues involved with when you're taking damage, when you're receiving damage. They just nailed it, with Overwatch. But I think more transferably to Gigantic, if you think about Diablo, the combat in Diablo has always felt fantastic to me, and across character classes as well, and abilities and tech trees, and they've always nailed it. I mean, it's such a huge part of that game, and just like this game, Gigantic, combat is such a huge portion of it. Like, I hope that there's some feedback they get from the community. I mean, the game did just come out. It's not definitely like they couldn't patch something in there to make it feel better. But I just want the feedback loop to be a little stronger, a little more focused for this game, for me to really, really want to get into it from where it is today.
Yeah, what I notice is because I have like maybe a year and a half or so of like League of Legends under my belt, so like MOBAs are a thing that I used to be pretty into, or like the MOBA genre is a thing I used to really, really understand. Now it's kind of like, I can probably ride that bicycle again, if I force myself to. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot about this game that reminds me a lot of like how I used to think when I played League, where like you think very macro, like extremely macro,
What do you mean by that?
So after I was starting to get my bearings, and I think I was really getting into that toward like the last few games that you and I played last night, Jack, where I was thinking, okay, so what's the next objective for me? and I'd always think, okay, it's like there's no enemies around, let's go try and kill a creature, right? Or if there are enemies around, try to find a way to flank them to help my team beat them. That kind of stuff. You try to think of what's the best thing for your character to be doing at that time that gives your team the maximum benefit and leads you closer to victory.
Okay.
Whereas with Overwatch, when I play that game, like to an extent, I think that way, but it's pretty simple, right? Like walk to the point, kill whoever you can so you can capture the point. Right.
I feel like reflexes play a much larger role in a game like Overwatch with the ability, especially since I'm a Symmetra main. I think that you really have to think tactically and you have to think a couple steps ahead of what the enemy team is planning on doing, or at least what you think they're planning on doing to be effective. Mm-hmm. And with Gigantic, I mean, obviously I'm real early in this game right now with my experience, but I don't feel like reflexes are playing that big a role. I don't know if it's maybe because I'm not playing characters that really shoot guns mainly or not, but I just think it's more like you need to pay attention to where you are on the map, where your team is on the map, where the enemy is, and then kind of just like get around them and just start mashing on all the skill buttons and try and do as much DPS as possible. That's kind of the feel I'm getting for it, and it's just a less reflex focused. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. What I think this game does is it's so super team based, and I think it might be almost to a fault. Because, there's that idea when you play with randos, there are some days where you just don't want to like deal with actually playing with them. You know what I mean? Like
random people, he means, guys. Yeah, don't worry, I got your back.
Oh, good. Randos. Thank you. But it's like sometimes you just want to like jump in a multiplayer game, but like you want to do you. And you can do that and you don't have to coordinate with your team. I think Gigantic is going to suffer from that, and that you can like only way to really succeed is to really coordinate with your team.
You have to. Yeah. I mean, I think having voice chat is absolutely crucial. Mm-hmm. I don't think that we would have been as successful if you and I weren't at least talking to each other.
Right.
So I absolutely agree with you though.
Yeah. Because what they did is like in League, for example, you could still farm creeps to make yourself stronger, so when it comes to a team fight you are vital and important and can do something. In this game you can't even farm a creature on your own, because if there's even one other enemy that goes to try and stop you, you're done. You have to leave or you're dead.
It's 2-on-1. You're right.
Yeah. So it's very much you have to coordinate with your team and be like, hey, so you two go here to make a distraction. Us three are going to go here to take this objective or something like that. There's always a need to kind of understand what is the best place for each of your teammates. Where is the best place for each of your teammates to be, and what is the best thing for them to be doing at that place?
So I have two questions. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's just, and you also have to consider like who they are playing. And I definitely don't know enough about any of the heroes yet to really like get into that and know like who's best for what objectives and stuff. Okay. But yeah, I feel like that's going to come.
Let me ask you, I have two questions. Let me ask you, where do you see yourself? I mean, this is a free to play game. Where do you see yourself with this in the future, in the near future, and then maybe like in a couple months down the road? And then my second question is, I want Collin to talk about this because we've kind of been monopolizing this conversation, and you've been playing the console version on Xbox. So I want to hear what your thoughts are, and try and divorce yourself from what you just heard us say. So go ahead, Robert, you first.
Okay. So, I mean, to be honest, I don't see myself picking up this game and getting as into it as I did like Overwatch or League. Okay. I think I'd play it casually, maybe if other people wanted to play it. But I don't see myself at that point yet where I'm like, yeah, I could fire up Gigantic on my own and play a couple games on my own.
Well, it just would be an exercise in futility, like you said. You have to group up. It's like, it's just nothing but frustrating. If everyone's just rolling in there into the meat grinder and just dying and there's no coordination, there's almost like no point to playing the game.
Right. But it does scratch that itch of my head of like, strategy, like that strategy bug, of like quickly knowing what's the best thing to do and telling your teammates where do you think is the best place to put the resources and etc. Like it scratches that itch very well.
You know what? When you say that, it has me thinking like, it kind of is like StarCraft if you zoom all the way down.
Yeah.
And you're controlling just one character rather than a horde of characters, right? It kind of has that feel and kind of that look of what you would think that would look like actually. So that's kind of interesting.
But Collin, so you played it on the Xbox. How did it feel to play it on the controller?
So it was actually surprisingly mapped pretty well. It seemed like, well, as well as it could be for a game like this. And I don't think, obviously, if it was something kind of more like League, where it was a more isometric or like over or like above the head kind of camera view, or whatever you call it, over the head view, I don't think it would work. But since it is more like a third person action kind of thing going on, at least from first glance, it works a little bit better than you would think. But I don't know, like the game kind of like throws you in a tutorial, and it's like, okay, so all these buttons for like do a bunch of different functions. And I think it was kind of hard for me to understand at first how, like, you know, because all the attacks are mapped to your shoulder buttons and triggers. And so, like, I don't know, it gets a little odd, and it told me to, like, oh, hit the Y button, open your menu, like, this is how you upgrade your attacks. And I was like, and then if you press and hold the button, it does this, and if you just press it, it does this. And I'm like, oh, this is a little, like, it was a lot of information thrown at me all at once. And I don't know, just kind of like, it just seemed like there was definitely a learning curve. There was a lot thrown at me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But overall I thought it felt pretty good for being on a controller, almost like for movement and stuff like that. It felt pretty good. But I've obviously, you know, it could only translate so well from like mouse and keyboard, and I definitely feel like it would play better on a keyboard.
Colin, what character did you find yourself playing?
I played, oh my gosh, I can't even remember his name now.
What did he do?
He looked like the Reaper from Overwatch, kind of. But like he had like a sword, and like high, like kind of balanced character. He had like high offense and defense. Anyway, he I don't know. He dealt a lot of damage, and he did like bleed and slow and stuff like that.
Is he the guy that would spin like one of his abilities? He'd spin around his top.
Spin to win.
He's talking about Tito Jackson.
Tito Jackson.
Yeah,
Tito.
Yeah,
actually.
he does.
Yeah,
he does the spin to win type stuff.
I was not with you when you were talking about Reaper, because to me he looks like an owl. But
yeah,
that too. Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, like, I don't know, the character felt pretty decent, and it seemed like he dealt a lot of damage, but I definitely didn't play enough to really get a feel for the game. And honestly, like, not really a game I care to come back to in particular, unless I had a lot of like friends who wanted to play or frequently play with us. But that's hard to do when I have no friends that play on Xbox anyway. So
you got a crew. No one has friends that play on Xbox. Friends don't let friends play on Xbox.
Play on Xbox.
Zing.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Sony.
Let's be real.
I just did it out of a convenience thing, man. I just so happened to have an Xbox because you know the next thing I'm going to talk about. But I mean, at least I got
Good.
Oh, I was going to say, like, just to get my bearings, and just so I had to throw in the ring when you guys talked about the game.
I think that segues perfectly, unless anyone else has anything to add on Gigantic. But you do have in your possession now, Colin, a Xbox One. The good old giant, most heaviest console ever in creation in your possession. And why is that?
Yeah, so just a short rant real quick. So
wait, hold on. Yeah. You have a rant about Xbox One? I can't even imagine what it would be about.
Oh, you know, me wearing my, usually wearing my PlayStation hat, having my PlayStation wallet, my PlayStation watch, a PlayStation hoodie, no surprise.
Card carrying member.
Yes, card carrying member. So yeah, I borrowed my buddy's fat Xbox One, and so I played it at his house the night before I took it with me to my apartment because I was back home, and played fine. Everything was great, and then I go to my apartment back here in Columbus the next day, and I set the whole console up, had it all set up, hooked up, everything was ready to go. Put the game in. Game tells me that the disc isn't reading. It said insert the disc, get the license from the store. What? And I was like, I just put the disc in the console. So I take the disc out, put it back in. It makes like a whirring noise. The disc drive makes like a whirring noise when I put the disc back in. And it said, insert the disc. And I'm like,
you broke your friend's console.
I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like freaking out. I'm like Googling. I was like, okay, it's making a whirring noise. Like, what's going on? Like, oh, you might have to send the Xbox in for repair. And I'm like, what? Oh my god, did I just break this Xbox? All I did was take it. Like, I put it in my car. I carefully carried it into my apartment. That's it.
Wow.
Well, did you do some sick stunts while you were in your car though?
Dude, I was driving like some Fast and Furious shit, like Tokyo Drift. I was like bouncing that thing like it was a pizza.
Wow.
So lo and behold, I said, oh wait, I have this thing sitting up vertically I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
Who does that?
Oh my god.
So I Googled it and I was like...
Tell me you moved it like vertically while the disc was spinning.
No. I'm not that stupid.
Okay.
I'm not that stupid.
Okay.
I had a 360, trust me.
Yes.
So anyway, I Googled it. I was like, Xbox One sitting vertically, not reading discs. And there was an official statement from Xbox, someone at Xbox, I can't remember if it was like Phil Spencer or whatever, but they're like, oh yeah, so the optical drive in our Xbox One, this is from like 2013, right when it launched. The optical drive in our Xbox One was not optimized for standing vertically.
Nice.
I'm like, are you serious? They're like the slot optical drive is not optimized to stand vertically. So I'm like, wait, so you're telling me that I've been able to do that ever since the PS2 came out, but Xbox is like, nah, we're just not gonna. So I take the console, I lay it flat, and put the disc in. Shit works on the first try.
Oh my gosh.
Can I just say, I'm looking over to my PS4 that's standing vertically a couple feet from me, and I'm just smiling at it and kind of thanking it for its existence right now.
It's just another fucking reason why I hate Xbox One so much.
Now I know why the system failed in Japan. It's got too big a footprint. It can't fit in those tiny apartments.
Dude, it's massive. Yeah. The thing's a VCR.
You got to turn it aside. It's the biggest thing I've ever seen under a TV. Period.
Dude, it's ridiculous.
That's why the Xbox. That's why the Xbox One X marketing is all like, it's the smallest Xbox ever.
They went the other way. Is what they were trying to do. I think a strong argument is that they were trying to avoid another Red Ring of Death, kind of scenario. So they put too many fans in there. They put too much space in there. So airflow was like not going to be an issue anymore. And it's largely built with off the shelf parts. So when you do that and you really are trying to focus on keeping things cool, that's kind of what you get. Something big and heavy and boxy and ugly, fugly.
Yeah. And here's the kicker, though. As big as that console is, it still has an external power brick.
That's huge as well. Yeah. Did you guys see also, I saw on Amazon, they're still selling Kinect sensors. Who's buying a Kinect sensor in 2017?
God.
Those are still for sale. You can still do that. And I think the Xbox One X, has a connector in the back of the, in the back of the thing.
I thought it didn't have one. I thought that was like the thing. It doesn't have one.
I thought it did, so we'll have to.
Maybe it does.
Yeah, we'll have to.
Maybe that was a slim. I remember one of them doesn't have it, and everyone's because Microsoft is done with it. But anyway, so that aside, Xbox One rant aside, I borrowed it to play a particular game, and it's the one game that I've wanted to play on Xbox One for the longest time, aside from Scalebound, but that got canceled. So whatever, bye bye.
Meh.
So Sunset Overdrive is a game I picked up for pretty dirt cheap at a GameStop. And
we haven't even started talking about this game yet. I forgot there was a game.
Dude, I was just the Xbox One, man. I tell you what. But
okay, go ahead.
Dude, Sunset Overdrive has almost made it worth it, man. Let me tell you, I am really, really enjoying this game. This game is stylish, but like over the top stylish in an ironic kind of way because it makes fun of itself for it. And it's simple, but it's fast, it's fluid, and the gameplay is just fun, man. It's just go, bounce, grind your way, and just shoot mutants in the face and blow them up. That's pretty much the gist of it.
It's kind of like if you took a Ratchet and Clank /
Jet Set
Nathan
Radio
Drake / Grand Theft Auto, / Tony Hawk.
Yeah, and put a tinge of like Scott Pilgrim in there or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, dude, it's like everything about it is just like over the top fun, and it's like it makes other games feel slow, like when you play this game, man, because you're just like bouncing and going all over the place, and it encourages you to play fast and just bounce and grind all over the place all the time because it fills up this meter that allows you to do more damage and do more crazy shit and explode more shit. Like the game, that's just what it's built around, is just blowing shit up and shooting shit in the face and doing it in a stylish and fun and crazy fast way.
And I really like the character design for the enemies as well. Not so much for the protagonist, but I think the enemies are pretty interesting and unique.
Like the ugly mutants and the robots and the human enemies, scab people or whatever. They're fun, plain old.
They're fun to kill.
Yeah, they are. They're really fun to kill. And so they just hand you this open world that you can grind and bounce your way through and just get over ridiculously fast. There's no you can fast travel in the game, but there's never one time where you actually do want to, because getting around the world is just so much fun. And like this game is. like, I think it's masterclass in terms of gameplay. Like, because the controls are just so well mapped. Like, it's easy. Like, you hit X button to grind, and if you want to switch from above the pipe to below, you hit the X button again, and then if you want to go backwards, you just point the joystick the opposite direction, hit the X button again, then you're going backwards. Like, it's that simple. Like, so I don't know, like, the game, like, you can constantly customize your character, you're constantly getting new accessories, clothes, and all that stuff. And my favorite part of this game is it just parodies video games in general. Like, it just makes fun of constantly makes fun of the tropes, like, that all video games have. Like, one particular moment was like, oh, you're talking to this character in a cutscene, and the character's like, yeah, so I'm probably just gonna, like, disappear randomly to the base somehow right when you take control of your character again. So yeah, and your character's like, okay, that's fine with me, bye. And then, like, the character's gone. And, like, it just makes fun of, like, tropey shit like that.
One thing I want to bring up is that I think it is fun, the traversal in that game. I have probably 4 or 5 hours logged into that game. I never did really beat it all the way through, but I think that it's important to note that the game, you really need to kind of unlock you need to prioritize, and the game doesn't tell you this either, but you need to prioritize unlocking the best kind of traversal skills, I guess is the best way to put it. So you're very limited in what you can do, but once you prioritize unlocking, then it becomes really fun, and the game does open up. Robert, have you played this game at all? What's your thoughts on it?
No, I've always wanted to, but, like, I was not about to go out and buy an Xbox One just to play one game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I borrowed an Xbox One.
I will say, though, like, it does make me very happy to hear that you both think that the traversal in that game is very, very good and, like, very fun to do. Because if I remember right, that was Insomniac Games, right?
Yeah.
And the same Insomniac game is making Spider-Man. The new Spider-Man game.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
So if traversal is, like, super fun in Sunset Overdrive, I can only imagine.
It's ridiculous.
Dude. Something like that might translate over to the new upcoming PS4 Spider-Man game.
I didn't even realize that until you just said that.
It makes me so much more excited for that now.
Yeah. But I am very anxious to get to the next part of the podcast. I don't know, Collin, did you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just overall, like, it was worth borrowing an Xbox One for sure, and the game is super cheap. Yeah, and almost breaking it.
You almost bought an Xbox One for that game.
Yeah, no shit. But, like, yeah, man, it's just so much fun to play. I'm enjoying the hell out of it, and I spend way too much time customizing my waifu of a character that I made.
Nice.
So yeah, man, I'm just having a great time with it, and that's all the game is. It's just built around having fun.
It's dirt cheap now. Yeah, you can get it super cheap, and so, have fun.
So let's get into basically what the next, like, at least 40 minutes, maybe. We'll see how long it gets.
Collin, go ahead and sing the theme song for our next segment.
Top 5 villains in video games according to the Tiny Disc Podcast.
Yeah, no, that was it. Good one.
Fair.
We need to get you, like, a keyboard in that room. Just so you can
I know. I need like a shitty MIDI keyboard.
No, we just need one of those. What are those things called? Those whistles, the slider whistles.
Yeah, whatever.
So what we decided at the Tiny Disc Podcast here is that this has been a slow news week. So we're going to, instead of talking about the kind of little to no news stories out this week, we're going to kind of have a gentlemanly discussion, if you will, of the best villains in video games. And this isn't just like Jack's favorite ones, Collin's favorites, and my favorites. It's the official Tiny Disc Podcast top 5 best villains in all of video games ever.
Bonafide, guys. Yep. And so what we have here is now we have a list, and we'll read the whole list to you. We're looking at the Google Doc. We have it open in front of us. There's 21 of the best villains in video games according to us.
Yeah, we just kind of brainstormed them over the past 2-3 days.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've been racking our brains pretty hard, man. Let me tell you.
And this is not, I also want to distinguish, this is not the best boss fight. That's a different list. These are the best villains. Okay. And in video games. And the end goal here is to come up with an ordered list of the top 5 in gaming, period. And so we're going to begin with that. Do you guys want me to read the list, or someone else want to read it?
What I think we should do first is I think we should establish, because like all three of us have our own biases when it comes to approaching this kind of stuff, right? So I think what we should do is we should go around and kind of, what is it that you look for when you were making this list? What made you think like this trait is what I look for in a good villain? That trait is great in a villain.
Okay.
So yeah, we can start with Jack, I guess.
So for me, I was just thinking back to all the gaming memories across the decades, across consoles and gaming platforms, and just like who really sticks out in my head as just a villain that I hate, right? Who is the Joffrey, really, of video games? And if they're doing a good job, it's, that's why you hate them, because they're great villains. And if it's satisfying to kill them, that's kind of what I was looking for. So the people that really were just really some that stuck it to the protagonist. And yeah, it's I guess it's fair to say as well that this is probably going to be fairly spoiler heavy for these games.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
So we're gonna it's unavoidable. We're gonna have to talk about some of the things that these villains do that for why they deserve a spot on this list. So just blanket spoiler warning, we're going to be talking about some really plot heavy concepts here for this list.
And you can decide to tune out after we list all of them, just so like, if it's a game that you're like interested in but it doesn't show up on the list, then you don't have to worry so much about spoilers, right? So do stick around until we at least list everything. But Collin, what about you? When you were coming up with like your ideas of a good villain, what was like your thinking of, that trait was cool, or that's what I like?
I think it was more so for me like the amount of development a villain has in it throughout a game, right? So you kind of understand why the villain does what he does in the game. Not necessarily that it's like, you think it's good or whatever, but you see the reasoning behind why this villain is so evil. They just have development, they have depth, and maybe even by the end of the game it causes some sort of like moral quandary when you do actually come face to face with this villain. Like, hey, like I want to kill this guy, but I kind of feel bad about doing it, right? So yeah, that's kind of like where I was coming from, and I was kind of hard pressed to find that. And even another thing too is like the level of this villain, right? Like, oh, this villain is literally like, maybe this villain is just like destroying the world because fuck it, right? That type of thing. Just evil villain.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Thank you. Right. So when I was coming up with my ideas for this list, I kind of on the same wavelength here as Collin, where I like it when villains are developed and you really understand where they're coming from. Like, not that you're just, I'm bad and I like making bad things happen because I'm bad and you're good. That to me is like very boring in a villain, and that's like a dime a dozen in the video game industry for sure. But I mean, like, favorite villains, when I think of that just like across all kinds of media, like TV shows and movies and stuff, it's always the kind of villain where once they come face to face with the hero, there's always maybe that question of like, who do I really root for though? Like, who do I actually like more between these two? Because I understand where the villain's coming from and I get why he or she is the way they are. And
I always think Vegeta. Vegeta's always a good example.
Yes, from Dragon Ball.
So that's why I don't know who you're talking about. Okay. Sorry. Good.
Right. So yeah, that's a lot of what I look for in like a really good villain. Either that or just how like cool they are. Like, it's a very childish thing I think of, but it's like the idea of just like, they're so cool where you're like, I hate you, but man, you can get away with saying that because it was a good line or something, like, you know what I mean? Where
say hello to the bad guy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the idea of like, you want to hate them, but you also like would like to get a drink with them at the bar sometime, but also like hope you don't die that night.
Yeah, like
I don't know if I'd want to go to the bar with Sephiroth, but
I'm so proud of you guys, by the way, that Sephiroth is not on this list. But let's start reading it down. How about that, guys?
I actually thought about it today, and I was like, I don't really know. I haven't finished Final Fantasy VII, so
so you can't even.
What?
No, I wasn't. Yeah.
Okay,
what are you waiting for? Like 10 years from when Square does the reboot? Like, what are you waiting for?
Pretty much. I'm sorry.
Goodness.
Well, you're in it.
Hate me.
So Jack,
so that's enough. Yeah,
use
that's
your
enough
dulcet tones here.
Yeah, preamble here, but let's start reading this list. So again, This is 21. We're going to attempt to whittle it down eventually, come up with an ordered list of the top 5 villains in video games, period. All right, so...
God, this first one's rough.
Okay.
It's a strong
Number
one.
1. All right, I'm going to read it through all the way. All right, Number 1, Joel from The Last of Us. Number 2, Kefka, Final Fantasy VI. Number 3, Voss, Far Cry 3. Number 4, Dr. Wily from the Mega Man franchise. Number 5, Dowd from Dishonored. Dowd from Dishonored. Number 6, Handsome Jack, Borderlands 2. Number 7, Skull Kid, Majora's Mask. Number 8, GLaDOS from Portal. Number 9, the Shiba Inu from Silent Hill 2. I like that one. Number 10, Ansem, Kingdom Hearts. Number 11, Andrew Ryan from BioShock. Number 12, Framped from Dark Souls. Number 13, Liquid Snake, Metal Gear Solid. Number 14, Tom Nook, Animal Crossing. Number 15, M. Bison from the Street Fighter franchise. Number 16, Ridley from Metroid franchise. Number 17, Ares from the God of War. 18, Diablo. 19, Joker, Batman Arkham series. And number 20, Origami Killer from Heavy Rain. And finally, number 21, Flowey from Undertale. So I think a good way to start this is to maybe kind of go around in a circle and cut one.
We each get one veto, is what you're saying?
We each get one cut. We're going to cut one from the list.
Okay.
So we just want to cut one off right off the bat? No arguments? No discussion?
And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we can just go around and discuss one as cut, because we have to get this list down. It's 21 now. We have to end up with 5.
Okay.
All right. I think... so
go first, Collin, then we'll go to Robert.
I think my first veto, maybe Joker. And
hold on a second. I don't know about what veto means. You're really confusing me here. We're cutting one, so I don't know. When you say veto, are you saying you're saving him, or are you saying you're cutting him from the list?
Cutting.
Cutting.
Okay.
And okay.
What?
And
you're gonna cut the Joker already?
That hurts my heart.
Now listen. Now my thought process behind that is because, is that really fair though? For the Joker, since I mean, I get it, he's in a video game, but Batman's like such a wide medium, right? That like we're gonna have like the Joker as the video game, you know what I mean? Video game top 5 villain.
I get that argument, but also like the interpretation of the Arkham series is very good. But
he is. You're right.
Yeah. But that's your cut, so we're gonna cut the Joker.
No, it's not. Okay. No, this is not absolute. You can absolutely argue this. This isn't just like...
you can argue it.
I want you to defend this. So if you want him on this list, do you think he's going to, do you think he has a chance in the top 10 or top 5?
I don't think he has a chance in the top 5. I'd maybe put him in the top 10, maybe. But that's my personal list. What I think the Joker provides with the Arkham series is that the Arkham series is definitely beloved, right? It is. In terms of video games, it's one of the greater series of video games that come out in the recent memory. And I think Joker definitely makes it what it is. It wouldn't be as successful if Arkham Asylum wasn't Batman trying to stop the Joker.
I mean, to be fair, that final boss fight with Joker and Arkham Asylum is pretty lame.
It was bad, but this isn't a boss fight. This is a villain.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
This is best villain. So, all right. So you're just going to... You concede to Collin then? That he should be off the list? All right, but how do you do the strike through font?
Alt Shift 4.
Okay, it's 5.
Nice. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Good.
That's fancy.
Yeah. Okay, so, all right, Robert, I guess it's your turn.
Yeah. Oh, man. See, part of me just wants to cut one of Collin's now just out of pure spite. But
oh, my God.
Well, he does have an argument. We never did stipulate, they have to originate in video games. But it is a good rule. I understand your logic. But I think Joker and I think Mark Hamill's performance as Joker is definitely something to be celebrated.
No, yeah. I wouldn't argue that he's a bad villain. I would just say I don't know if it's necessarily a fair entry to the rest. But
I get what you're saying for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Robert, your cut.
I don't know. Part of me wants to say Liquid Snake, only because I think there are better villains in the Metal Gear series. But I think I might go with Framped from Dark Souls.
Okay, and why?
Who put that there?
I put that there.
Okay,
he
is going for the jugular.
It's okay. It's kind of like a long there's a big reason to me why I put them there.
So this is the original Dark Souls game, the first one.
Yeah,
and you have a specific reason why he's there. So I'm interested to hear this. Go ahead.
Okay, so
the reason why not you. I'm interested in hearing Robert first, and then you.
Oh, Robert.
Okay. So I'm a casual fan of Dark Souls. I played Dark Souls 1 and 3, and I really like them. Like I have 70+ hours in 3.
Casual, one I played 70 hours.
Yeah, the first one I played only through once, and what I think is tough to justify with any Dark Souls villain, because I get the lore. I know how dark some of the shit is. You know how like world ending, world changing the villains can be in Dark Souls.
Right.
But I think it's too subvert, or is it covert? It's not in your face enough for me to, like,
that's fair.
Right. When I played through Dark Souls, I wasn't thinking, man, like this guy's a real mean guy. I don't like him and he's evil and he's going to destroy the world. I was thinking, God, I have to fight this boss for the frickin' 20th time just because I can't get that one dodge roll right. And man, I need a weapon that does more. Like when I think of Dark Souls in terms of villains, I think of it more as a boss rush, boss battle game than a epic quest to stop Lord Bad Guy from destroying the realm.
Let me ask you, is he a boss? Is he the main big bad in this game or in the whole series?
No,
or what is his role?
The reason why I say Frampt is the villain is because he basically perpetuates you to it's so tough to get into because Dark Souls lore is very convoluted.
Yes.
But like basically he's perpetuating you to link the flame, the first flame, and bring back the age of the old lords and basically resurrect them. Mm-hmm. When you actually, technically the good ending in Dark Souls, spoiler alert, is actually leaving the flame and letting it die out to bring on the age of the dark, which is actually a good thing because it stops the cycle from basically breaks the cycle from happening again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that your final argument to why this should be left on?
Yeah, because he's basically trying to keep the evil there.
I have no horse in this race. I want to play this game, but I haven't played it, so I'll let you guys decide whether it stays or whether Robert picks somebody else.
I honestly, like, I see where you're coming from, Robert. If you want to cut it, man, I don't see you. Like,
so, I have a hunch that like Collin's not going to stick up for many things in this debate.
Well, I don't know. Like, I've Frampt. That's the reason why, but I definitely get your argument of like he's not an in-your-face villain. It's not like he's breathing down your neck or like, you're coming up to this final battle with this big bad and he's got a lot of depth and blah, blah, blah. You're kind of like, you have to do a lot of your own research to kind of get at my argument. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to like really dig for it.
All right. I'll let you do the honors then, Collin, if you want to kill Frampt off the list.
Yeah, how'd you say Alt-5?
Alt-Shift-5.
Yeah.
Alt-Shift-5.
Yeah, great podcasting, guys. We're getting the keyboard shortcut tutorials.
Mm-hmm. Next,
yes.
What does Control-C and Control-V do? Find out in next week's episode.
What's Control-F4 do? Okay.
All
right,
now
so I
it's
guess
Jack's
my turn.
veto. It's Jack's cut.
Okay, and by the way, this is only the first round. We have a few more rounds to go, right? Okay, so I'll make this pretty short, guys, but I mean, I put this up here kind of as a joke, but I thought it was something worth at least discussing just for a brief minute here. But the Shiba Inu from Silent Hill 2, definitely one of my favorite villains of all time. Definitely goes down there's many a meme about this. If you just want to YouTube maybe the Shiba Inu Silent Hill 2 and just see kind of what I'm talking about. But for people that are unfamiliar with the Silent Hill franchise, we're talking about one of the most dark, depressing, absolutely not only depressing but oppressive environments in gaming, period, and just very, very, very horrific. And it takes it makes Resident Evil look kind of like a B movie series compared. This is just straight horror and just some of the worst scenarios possible. And I mean, that's where Pyramid Head comes from. I'm kind of surprised he's not on this list, but hey, whatever. So what happens, spoilers for Silent Hill 2, if you get a special item and you open a certain door and complete certain criteria, you find out that all this like blood and guts and all this crazy satanic madness that's going on is actually there's a cute little Shiba Inu in a little cartoon control room looking at like cameras and stuff, and he's kind of behind the whole hellish landscape that is Silent Hill, and that's kind of the big joke, is that this cute little puppy dog is dragging you through hell basically. And then at the end, during the credits, the ending, you see a little Shiba Inu kind of like crossfaded in the background, and there's this little barky song like like it's really stupid. It's stupid in the most Japanese way ever. It's really hilarious. So great. Yeah, so hey, obviously it's not going to make it in the top 10. It's going to be my first cut, but I just wanted to bring him up and just pay the Shiba Inu his due. He might have an actual name, I don't know, but it's just worth watching on YouTube. It's one of the most unique endings in any game I could think of. That's all I have to say about it.
Fair enough. I've never played Silent Hill games, so I can't really add much to this.
No, never one game, huh?
Never a single one.
I think the first game really deserves a reboot, a remaster, an HDification,
like a Resident Evil one.
Absolutely, something. Yeah. I think it absolutely is deserving of that. The first game is a classic. I think the second one is widely considered to be the best in the series, so it might just be good to cut to that. The original Xbox version is the one to get. They recently made a remake of Silent Hill 1 and 2, I want to say, or at least a re-release on Xbox
2 and 3.
Yeah, 2 and 3. Sorry,
it was a remaster for 2 and 3, 360 and PS3.
And the PS3 one is an absolute abomination. It's terrible. It's considered one of the worst releases ever. So stay away from that one. So that's it.
No, the 360 one's the bad one.
Are they both terrible? Or is just
okay. So here's the thing. So I had the PS3
one. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So. No, yeah, really quick. So like the PS3 version actually got patched, and it's actually playable now. So, but that 360 version didn't for some reason. But the PS3 remaster, as long as you get the patch, is actually playable and it's decent.
Gosh, I hate that shit. Okay,
good old patches.
Collin, I think it's back to your turn. So go ahead and make a cut here.
Oh man. See, I don't. Some of these I don't really even know well enough to make a judgment call or not.
Yeah, I think that might be the tough thing that'll get to all of us, is that like for example, I have no idea who like Kefka is, so I'll cut him, and then it's like, no way, he's one of the worst villains of all time, and you know what I mean?
It's inevitable. You gotta pick somebody.
Okay.
I guess if I had to pick one, it would have to be M. Bison, I guess.
Oh,
M. Bison
come
from Street Fighter.
Good old Vega Shadowloo.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I don't know how much depth he actually has being from a fighting game.
Dude, this is Raul Julia's swan song. This is his last role against Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, from the movie. Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just that it's not your first line of defense isn't why he's so evil. It's that the Street Fighter movie happens.
Dude, the Shadowloo icon, just the logo itself is so badass. It's the most badass logo on this list. M. Bison, the Psycho Crusher.
Is he top 5 material though? Is the question.
He's really good, guys. You really don't know anything about M. Bison?
I really don't. I know at one point he was called Vega.
Yeah, that's a whole nother problem with the series.
Would you consider him top 5 material, Jack?
They named I feel like they named the Street Fighter 2 bosses, the original 4, kind of the way they did Final Fantasy. They just had different names for different regions, and it just created a bunch of confusion. So, no, he's not in the top 5, but damn it, man, M. Bison is a badass villain, and he doesn't get his due. And I just think that he's underrated. And Raul Julia, that's all I have to say. God. Come on, man.
So are you saying top 10 material at least?
I'm not ready to delete him yet. He's been around our whole lives.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's true.
He's got staying power.
How about this?
That argument, though.
How about we give it a strike? Like, we don't cut it, but we give it a strike. And I don't really know what that'll mean when it comes to synthesizing everything, but it'll remind us.
Okay, all right.
See, things are gonna have like O's and like maybe double circles and like parentheses. It's gonna look like a
football playbook when we're done. We're gonna have we're gonna have friggin' arrows. Okay, Robert, go ahead.
Okay.
We do have to whittle this list down. That's gonna get tough.
Okay, so I'm leaning toward Tom Nook, and part of that might just be because...
Oh my gosh, you guys are taking me apart.
Here's the thing. I don't like Animal Crossing in the first place.
That's so un-Asian of you.
I've never played an Animal Crossing game, so...
I played like the first couple days of New Leaf on the 3DS and was like, this shit sucks. And I'm a person who I like Harvest Moon and I like Stardew Valley, but something about Animal Crossing was just like a big nope to me.
Don't like good games, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Get out of here with your shit-tasting games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Overwatch, you know what I mean?
Oh, man. I know, right? It's only digging me a bigger hole. So... Okay, so you guys basically, it sounds like you don't know why Tom Nook is so bad.
Absolutely not.
Okay, this is why he's so bad. Okay, I'm arguing on behalf of Tom Nook. I really don't want to cut him. I really want him in the top 10. I'd be willing to sacrifice M. Bison for Tom Nook, and this is why. Tom Nook, okay, is you land on this island. There's new friends. You are given this plot of land, and Tom Nook says, "Here, you can have it. This is where you can live." Doesn't that sound good? You can be with all your friends in this new city. You can be the mayor. And you're like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And he'll be like, you know what? I'll do it. I'll front you the money. And you just need to make these payments here. You need to pay me, 560,000 bells. And you've got all this time in the world to do it. But it's like monthly installments. He's the tax man coming to tax your ass for those bells. And he's the loan pusher, shark, dude. He is absolutely a loan shark, and he's a pusher, and he will come for his bells. And Tom Nook gets his, whether or not you have it or not. Like it is a tough gig owing him money. So if you don't know how to make bells in that game, it is a slog, and it's a hard lesson in real life.
Okay, so this may be me coming from not playing much Animal Crossing, but it sounds like he's a villain because he personifies a game mechanic, not because Tom Nook is evil or mean.
He's not nice. He's not, and everyone's so nice in Animal Crossing, and he's not pleasant.
I mean, neither is the IRS, but they're not on this list.
You would hate,
dude. Jack, you're killing it with these arguments, man.
You learn to hate. What do you mean killing it?
You just coming in, man. You're just like, hey, so he's not good.
He's not nice, I'll tell you that.
He's not a nice guy.
He's the most not nice villain on this list, man. No. I'd rather Tom Nook be on than M. Bison. So
for real.
Yes. Tom Nook is nasty, man. He's a nasty man.
Like, what does he do? Bust your kneecaps? Like,
might as well.
I'll bust your fucking kneecaps.
Dude, it's just a hard, like I said, it's a harsh lesson in reality that you have to learn to cope with. It's street law, man. Martial law. Tom Nook runs
martial law
in Animal Crossing, dude.
Like if you don't pay any of your bells in the next couple of weeks, he just brings the Coast Guard.
He takes from you, and you better not be late. Oh, it's rough. No, Tom Nook over M. Bison. We have to.
Okay, I'll give that another strike, and we'll see where it goes from there.
We'll cross over M. Bison. No strike on Tom Nook, and we're just gonna cross out M. Bison.
What? We really should have come up with a system before this, but whatever.
Yeah, okay. I'll sacrifice M. Bison.
Okay,
Tom Nook is top 10.
Hold on. I'm only giving this to you now, but we cannot make any more. I will sacrifice this horse for that horse. No more of that.
We'll see how it goes. I didn't realize you guys were both going to be going in on me on this round.
Well, I didn't know that Tom Nook was also you.
Okay.
Guys, everyone knows the best villain in all of video games is Eddie's brother from Ed, Edd and Eddy.
All right, I'm going in. Speaking of going in, it's my turn, right? Okay, I'm gonna make a hard cut here, and I hope it doesn't hurt anyone, but I'm going to say we cut Skull Kid from Majora's Mask.
Okay, why?
Because he's not even the most in that game alone. He's not even the most recognizable villain. The moon is that evil ass moon or meteor or whatever it is with the evil face. Is that the moon in Majora's Mask?
Yeah. The reason why I put him there is Majora's Mask is is definitely the darkest game in like the entire Zelda franchise. Because I mean you're basically in fear of the world just ending at any given moment in the game, and so like the fact that Skull Kid was like this innocent side character in Ocarina of Time, and then he stumbles upon this mask and puts it on and makes him evil and makes him want to destroy the world, and he basically becomes like a demon, and like he's basically taunting you for the 3 days time, waiting for you to like come face him, and he's like, nah, I'm just gonna end the world now. He definitely has a lot more depth than Ganondorf, that's for sure. Like,
well, low bar, but yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's still, you know, evil villain is evil for the sake of being evil. But
I think I'm looking at some of the names on this list, and I definitely wouldn't know if this would make the top 10. So I would just pull the Band-Aid early and just cut it now.
Yeah, I mean, I have no horse in this race because I didn't play much of Majora's Mask. But I will say, when I think of the Majora Mask bad guy, I do not think of Skull Kid.
And I actively dislike Majora's Mask, and that's a talk for another day, Collin. Oof. We can do that later, but
just gonna slide that one in there, huh?
Just a little shade, just a slight little shade in there.
All right. Okay, fair enough. Okay, we'll cut him.
Okay, we are whittling this list down
slowly but surely.
All right.
Okay. Losing my entries here.
All right, Collin, hit me up.
Think out loud.
Okay.
Say what you see. Say what you see.
So I'm leaning more towards Dr. Wily. And so that I think and I don't think, as far as I know, Dr. Wily is just like big bad for the sake of being bad. So I haven't played enough Mega Man to really know, but like as far as I know, Dr. Wily's just kind of like he's evil because he just wants to see the world burn, or he's, you know, like he's gonna take over the world with his robots. I don't know what his end goal is. Help me out, or tell me why he shouldn't be cut.
Robert, do you want this, or do you want me to take it?
So I'm more of a Mega Man X fan than a Mega Man fan. That was a weird way to say that. So, I mean, I'd probably personally cut Dr. Wily before 10 as well. Like before top 10.
Oh, guys. He's an evil genius engineer. Look how many times he comes out of nowhere, out of obscurity. He builds his own castle. He builds, 9 incredibly awesome, crazy robots? Guys.
Isn't
and
then he
8? Then he lies to your face when you beat him at the end of every Mega Man game. He lies to you and he begs for your mercy. And then he says, I'll never do it again, Mega Man and Dr. Light. I swear I'll never do it again. 2 years later, sure as shit, there he is, back with his robot, his cadre. And they're good enemies. They're some of the most fun enemies in gaming, the Mega Man bosses. And Dr. Wily's the man behind
him. Does that make him a good villain?
Is this a fun boss battles list or a good villains list? Because here's the thing, like what you just described with Dr. Wily is that to me sounded like a dungeon master's my first D&D campaign that I made up from scratch kind of thing. There's an evil guy and he builds other evil guys and you have to beat them all.
He's persistent.
He builds other guys.
He's persistent though, guys. I just think that he is right up there for me with any of the classic Nintendo kind of villains. But I understand what you're saying. Like when you think about Mega Man, really you don't think too much about, I mean, Dr. Wily's there, he's at the end, but you really are thinking about the bosses and their weaknesses. And that's really what you're focused on. And Dr. Wily kind of just facilitates whatever little thread of a story there is.
Yeah.
So I would be willing to cut him, but it's only because we're doing a top 5. If we were doing a top 10, or if we were doing like a top 15, 20, like, obviously he'd put it there. So I don't think he'll make top 5. So I guess I'll be okay cutting him.
Okay. Sounds good.
For the sake of getting through this discussion.
Okay. So now it's my turn, right?
Okay. Hold on. Let's see who is cut now. So we have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've cut 6, right?
Yes. So
all right, let's do 15. One more round. Let's do one more round and then we'll kind of, regroup and say who's left.
That was just Collin's, right? So then it's mine and then yours, and we're done.
Yeah.
So I didn't play much Metroid either. So
yeah, I haven't either.
Oh man. Is this another one of Jack's? Because I feel bad. I feel like we're picking on Jack now.
Well, here's what we can do. We could maybe you can do a cut, I can do a cut, or instead of that we could just say, hey, who do we think deserves a spot in the top 10, and start doing that now. What do you think?
I kind of like that. I mean, because we have 15, it's manageable. Yeah.
So again, we'll just review who is left. We have Joel from The Last of Us, Kefka, Final Fantasy VI, Voss from Far Cry 3, Dowd from Dishonored, Handsome Jack, Borderlands 2, GLaDOS, Portal, Ansem from Kingdom Hearts, Andrew Ryan, BioShock, Liquid Snake, Metal Gear Solid, Tom Nook, Animal Crossing. Thank you, he's still there. Ridley from Metroid, Ares, God of War, Diablo, the Origami Killer from Heavy Rain, and Flowey from Undertale. So starting with you, Robert, pick one that will definitely be locked in for the top 10.
For the top 10?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw my hat on Voss from Far Cry 3.
All right, move him up there. I definitely agree with that. I think he's in the top 10.
Okay.
I don't know if he's in the top 5, but he's in the top 10. Oh, paste him in there. Don't cut him in there.
Oh, fine, whatever. all this background computer talking happening. Okay, so Jack, yours is next.
Okay. Who is locked in here? I'm gonna go with Flowey from Undertale.
Any objections?
I haven't played Undertale, so.
Oh my gosh, Collin! What? Dude,
that was extreme.
Love it.
I'm sorry. What?
Oh, I think you'd love it. You like JRPGs, right?
I probably would. Yeah. Dude. I mean, I played a little bit of it, but not enough to.
I mean,
you must be psyched about it coming on PS4 and Vita then.
Yeah, I could play it on Vita.
Oh, you about that. Absolutely have to play that when it comes. Okay,
well, Collin.
Dang, I don't know how much I want to talk about that, man. I haven't played it yet.
That's true.
Andrew Ryan from BioShock.
I think that's the original BioShock, right?
Yeah, yep. The man something, a man chooses, a slave obeys.
Okay, so kindly paste that up there, Collin.
Yeah, sure.
Would you kindly paste that up there?
Would you kindly?
Indeed. Okay, so go ahead, Robert. Okay. Who's locked in the top 10?
Locked in the top 10. I think the one of the easy choices of what's left, probably GLaDOS from Portal. That's an easy, all of us probably are at least familiar with GLaDOS and kind of understand what she does to put her in that top 10 area.
Yeah, you will not hear any objections from me. I will put in Diablo.
Okay.
Any objections?
I mean, I've only played Diablo 3, so
Diablo 3 is the one I've played the most by far.
Yeah. When I think of Diablo, I don't really think too much about how evil he is. I don't, whenever I kill Diablo, I'm not satisfied because yay, I vanquished evil. I'm satisfied because I got some dank loot, bro. You know?
So I don't know.
I don't know
if
Diablo 3 though, he's the chick.
Yeah.
That story thread was pretty strong and pretty surprising. I mean, it was sort of predictable when 2020 hindsight, but at the time when you first get that reveal, I thought that was very powerful.
Yeah, what was the name of that girl again? It was Deckard's daughter, or niece.
This is 5-year-old game, so I'm having problems remembering. But I just remember that reveal was very strong. I thought
it was strong, but I don't know. I guess we'll see what we decide with the other people on this list. So I guess paste it up there for now.
Okay.
Because I think we'll eventually get to this point where we've gone around and we have our top 10, and then someone's going to be like, wait, but this guy didn't make it into the top 10? Why isn't he? You know, and then we'll have those discussions.
Right. So go ahead, Collin.
Joel from The Last of Us, top 10.
Oh. All right. Go ahead and put him up there.
Okay. Yeah, would you kindly?
Oh, sorry, I tried to ditch. Didn't work.
Let me think.
How did that happen?
I'm trying to look through the rest of our list here. I think I'm gonna throw a hat in for Dowd from Dishonored.
All right. I have only played 4 hours of that game. I think it's long enough though where I can stomach some spoilers there.
Collin, have you played any of Dishonored?
No.
Oh man, then it's going to be a very hard sell to you two.
Do you really think he has a spot potentially or you think he deserves a spot in top 10?
He is one of the strongest villains I have seen. That's a bad way to phrase it, but he's one of the strongest characters I have seen in video games in a pretty long time.
All right, throw him up there, but we're running out of room.
We are.
Okay.
Jack?
And it's my turn, yeah? So, Kefka, Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah, I mean, I have no objections to that one.
Nope.
Okay. Go ahead, Collin.
I'm leaning towards... I mean, my heart wants to say Ansem, but I don't know. Because it's so long and convoluted and hard to argue Kingdom Hearts, and we don't even know the outcome. I think Xehanort would be a better rather than Ansem there.
Right, but explaining why is so fucking dumb. I'm leaning toward, because Jack, you haven't played any Kingdom Hearts games, right? Or
I've dabbled, but I've never, and no meaningful amount of time in my life has been dedicated to this.
Right.
Then I think easier for me would be Liquid Snake.
Okay.
I'm down with that.
Okay. Because I actually played all the way through the original Metal Gear. So
wait, right. So Robert's getting last pick?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. We've each gotten 3 picks now, so this number one, well, not the number one spot, but this last spot.
Okay.
I think we should all discuss it based on who is left at our bigger list.
Can you star next to who's left there, and while you're doing that, I'll read what we have so far. So far in our top 10 list now, and this is no particular order yet. We haven't determined order, but we have Liquid Snake, Metal Gear Solid, Kefka, Final Fantasy VI, Dowd from Dishonored, Joel, The Last of Us, Diablo, GLaDOS from Portal, Andrew Ryan from BioShock, Flowey from Undertale, and Voss from Far Cry 3. And so there is one spot left in the top 10, and who is left? We have Handsome Jack, Borderlands 2, Ansem, Kingdom Hearts, who Collin kind of just disqualified there.
Yeah,
we can throw him out.
Yeah. We can also strike through Liquid Snake.
Right.
Okay. So Tom Nook is left.
Mm-hmm.
Ridley, I thought we got rid of that one. Did we not? Or we were about to anyways.
We were about to, and then we started doing this thing.
Go ahead and scroll through. I mean, I didn't expect him to get in the top 10, but I did want to just give him his due. I mean, he's the cover villain on Super Metroid, one of the greatest games of all time.
Right.
He is constantly foiling you throughout the series. He makes a very prominent appearance in Metroid Prime and just throughout. So Ridley, I mean, you think about Mother Brain, at least I do when I think about Metroid, but I also definitely think of Ridley just as much. So I just want to give him his due, but he doesn't make this list. We have Ares, God of War, and we have the Origami Killer from Heavy Rain. Does he not have a proper name?
He does have a proper name.
He does, but it would spoil the shit out of it.
It would.
Well, we're going to have to do that eventually.
Anyway.
You know?
Oh, man, what was his name? Was it Shelby?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a scary name for a dude.
Detective Shelby.
Oh, that's his last name?
I think so.
Okay. It's been so long since I played that game. I remember so many things about Heavy Rain. I remember being in this all-white room and being forced to either chop off one of your fingers or someone else
it was in a shitty hotel room,
something like that. Dude, that was so stressful for me. I thought there was no way. I was this game's gonna be over. I'm just gonna lose a finger or something.
I love the way that game feels.
Man. That game was very tense, but somehow I made it through with my finger and nothing too bad happened. So that kind of broke it for me a little bit. I guess the stakes aren't as high as I thought. But that being said, I still love that game. I would totally play through it again. It's been long enough. It's been dude, has it been
it's been
9 years?
8 years or so, yeah.
Yeah, you can play that. Yeah, you can play that and Beyond Two Souls on PS4 now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just gonna say I'd play Heavy Rain way before Beyond Two Souls for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I would play Heavy Rain the second time. So okay, so let's discuss. We have how many are left?
So let's recap. Yeah, we have Handsome Jack from Borderlands 2, Tom Nook, Animal Crossing, Ares from God of War, and the Origami Killer, aka Scott Shelby from Heavy Rain.
I've got two.
So my money's on Origami Killer.
Ooh.
Oh, you're just gonna say it right there?
I'm surprised. I thought I would be the only one who'd argue for him, so I was gonna be like, he doesn't need to be up there. But
no, well, because here's the thing. So, Handsome Jack was like, okay, I will say he's a decently well developed character, especially after Telltale's Tales from the Borderlands, right?
Oh yeah.
So I haven't played that, so I don't know as much about Handsome Jack. My argument against Ares would be Ares is like, I mean, it's based on Greek mythology, and so like his lore was kind of already there, and they kind of just threw Kratos into that Greek mythology lore,
right?
So
okay, hold on, like you're throwing me on the defensive now. Okay, so you're talking about Ares. I remind you, he tricked Kratos into slaughtering
his own family.
Into killing his own son and wife without him knowing about it, and then laughed basically in his face. And then Kratos the reason his skin's so white is because he's wearing the ashes of his dead family on his skin. That's fucking hardcore, man.
I mean, that's evil villain shit right there, if I've ever heard it. But like, how is he as a character though? Like, other than we know he's just an evil bastard.
He's a total dick. He's got a flaming beard. He's got those.
They're gonna say he's got a filet mignon.
He's got those crazy like spider arms coming out of the back, or those talon things. I don't know. I mean, how many times make a drinking game out of every time that Kratos screams Ares' name? You'll be super messed up by the end of the first level.
Yeesh.
I don't know. I mean, I think. All right, so you're doing the Joker. Are you doing the Joker kind of argument, like, oh, he exists outside of video games? So,
I mean, his lore was already built for him, so like any character development was kind of outside the game. It's kind of just like, you know what I mean?
No, I'm talking strictly from what he did in God of War.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but it's like, is that really character development though? Other than just like I understand he's evil. But he's evil. Like that's it. Like that's all we really know about him.
I have no horse in this race because I've never played that Santa Monica gem.
I played all the games aside from the PSP ones.
All right, Ares, I tried, man.
So you're going to concede to Collin here?
I guess.
Okay.
We'll cut Ares, so he does not make the top 10.
No.
But he lasted this long.
He did.
He lasted this long.
That he did.
Oh man, we still got to whittle down our top 10. Oh man.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So
it's you, Robert.
So I would like to. Do we only have 2 left? We have 3 left.
Yeah, we have 2. We have 3. Okay.
I would love to eliminate Tom Nook. I'm not gonna lie.
There's no way. You guys are talking out your ass. You don't even know the game.
Okay. So
Tom Nook is the most. Here's why he's so evil. Because he blends in. It's a very cute game. It's very relaxing. It's one of the most relaxing games you could possibly play.
Oh, I'm aware.
It's the music, everything. Everyone wants to be your friend or wants to be friendly to you for the most part. And Tom Nook just slides in there like the snake that he is. He's really a raccoon. But he is devious because he's hiding under, just in plain sight. And he's always looming over you. And your whole driving force this whole time is to keep Tom Nook off your ass.
Okay.
To me, that's evil. To me, he's a great bad guy in a game that you would think doesn't even have a bad guy doesn't even exist.
But you could say some very similar things about like a good father figure or a good role model. He keeps you going and he keeps, motivating you to stay on your ass, and keep going. And
I don't know why you would love to cut Tom Nook. This is just sounding like people that don't know Tom Nook to me.
Well, okay, because here's another thing. I think both Handsome Jack and the Origami Killer are stronger. I can make stronger arguments for both of them.
Yeah, they just have they both have way more character development than Tom Nook does.
Wait, so you've played Animal Crossing?
No,
but from the sounds of it,
you don't know.
And
dude.
based on what?
I think I've played both Borderlands 2 and I played all 3 of these games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what I'm saying to you is, I think that Tom Nook has just as much, if not more, personality than Handsome Jack. I'm just telling you because he never says the same thing twice. ever.
Okay, so that's fair, but here's the thing. Handsome Jack is constantly trying to kill your character while talking about his diamond horse that shits diamonds, whereas Tom Nook just sounds like he just asks for your money every
Tom
week.
Nook is on your ass constantly about your money, keeping you from upgrading your house and all the rooms in your house. And not only that, but the whole time he's reaping it in from you, he's upgrading his store and he's putting money into his store. His life is getting better while your life is being put on hold. It's like capitalism at its worst. And so he rubs it in your face how nice his store is. Huh?
You're saying he's an allegory.
1,000,000,000%. He's improving his life. He's up there with Pinky there, sipping on martinis and kicking his feet up while you're struggling. You're on the beaches for hours trying to catch shark, trying to catch beetles. You're working so hard to get these bells just to get this guy off of you. That's how much pressure is put on you by this guy. While he's kicking up, he's living lavish.
I don't know,
is
man.
a bastard.
Here's the thing. When I'm looking at this whole list, though, it's like everyone is like, I've killed your family, or I want to kill the world. Like, everything is very truly
So your
evil
argument is
on
the
this
origami
list.
killer should be the number 10 spot in the top. Or
Possibly.
it should not the spot, but should be in the top 10.
Yeah.
I haven't heard any reasons why yet. So tell me why.
So the origami killer, when I think of him, is that for majority of the game, he's kind of like mysterious. It's like, who is the origami killer? All I know is that he kills children, right? And then you figure out, like, I remember feeling real wigged out when I found out that one of the characters you play as is the fucking origami killer.
Right.
And
you don't fucking figure it out.
You don't
until,
notice.
Like,
It's very well done. But on top of that, you understand why he's developed this penchant for killing kids. You know, like, you understand the traumatic backstory under why he does what he does.
Go into it. Explain it.
You want me? Okay, so it's when he was like a kid.
It's been so long for me, I can't remember.
Okay, so when he was like a kid, his brother died the same way the origami killer is killing all the people or all the kids. Like, he got trapped in a grate, and it kept raining real hard, heavy rain, and it floods, and his brother drowns and is killed. And no adult would help. No, like, the father wouldn't come and help. You know, like, just let him die. So what Scott Shelby does is he kidnaps kids and does the same thing that his brother suffered through, and does it to the kids as a way to test fathers. Like, are you really a good dad? Like, Jason. Would you do anything? Yeah, Jason.
Jason. Praise X to Jason.
Yeah. So you understand why he's doing this. It's like, it's fucked up. I'm not justifying what he did, but, like, you can almost empathize with why he is the way he is. And it comes together so well, and it kind of, I don't know, I think it provides a very satisfying end to the story, and it's very satisfying to see him go when he's, like, put away.
Yeah, he's almost like Jigsaw, like from the Saw series, but, like, less extreme. Like, it's like, I want to play a game. Like, you know, he wants you to succeed. He wants you to pull through because this is, like, his game. But, like, that's just, you play as him the entire game, man, and then you play through his development.
Okay, guys.
And then you are the villain.
I'm going to make it plain to you right now, okay?
You want Tom Nook real hard.
What I'm going to say is that Tom Nook is a motherfucker, okay?
Uh-huh.
But he didn't kill no kids.
Yeah.
So I'll have to concede. As much as it hurts, guys, we need to revisit this. Maybe Tom Nook needs a spot in the top 10.
Okay, I'm willing to drop that. Like, let's talk about our current top 9. I'm kind of willing to drop Diablo.
I was thinking the same thing.
Good. Okay, good. Done.
Make it happen.
Okay, we'll put Tom Nook in the top 10. He'll be number 10. That's fine. I'm fine with that. And we'll take Diablo out.
Well,
guys, can we have like a gavel noise for every time we're like, okay, removed, agreed.
Yeah, Robert, you need to edit in that Law and Order gavel.
Yeah. Well, here's a wild thought though. What if instead of Tom Nook being in the top 10, it's the origami killer and Handsome Jack that move on?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Don't bite off way too more. Hell no. No. That's not in the cards. We need to move on. For the sake of brevity, Tom Nook is in the top 10. Tom Nook is in the top 10.
I want to see Handsome Jack up. I think I'm willing to cut Liquid Snake for Handsome Jack.
I'm not. No way. No
You're doing this to
way.
spite?
No. We're put Tom
Dude,
Nook
I really
up
like
there.
I really like Liquid Snake.
I don't know.
Dude,
Liquid Snake's
Snake
a boring
is a legend.
bad guy.
I don't agree. Hold on. Let's get Tom Nook up there. Okay. I don't think I think Handsome Jack is good. I played a lot of that game. That game is not good.
It's
Dude,
not good, but he saves that game so hard.
Not enough for me to keep playing it.
He's a great character, though.
Liquid Snake. He's
a lot of people have personality in that series. A lot that series, Borderlands, is brimming with personality, and he has the most. You know, I would argue him or the robot, but I think he's good. I just don't think that I'm looking at this list here, and I don't think he's as good as these other villains. I would trade him. I don't know. I almost said I'd trade him for Joel, but I don't know. No, I think I'd rather have Joel up there.
Okay, wait. So let's visit that real quick because we have gone 50 minutes. Where one of the first things we said in the 50 minutes is that our first villain is Joel from The Last of Us. And I don't think anyone has justified, not that I'm saying I'm against it, but I think there's at least one person out there who has had a face of like, the fuck for the past like 50 minutes.
Yeah, we've gone this entire time without even fucking giving a reason why.
He or she deserves an explanation.
That's like kind of saying like Mario is the best villain in Mario Brothers. So Collin, do you want to take this one?
Sure. Joel from The Last of Us. So
spoilers inbound, probably.
Yeah, it's massive fucking spoilers coming up. So basically, Joel's just a dad and then ex-dad who's just going through this shitty apocalypse, and he gets tasked with taking this little girl who just so happens to have the blood for the cure for this massive disease that's infected the entire world and turned everyone into zombies, and this girl's blood is the cure. And basically this the Fireflies, which is like this do-goody people that want to basically rid the world of this apocalypse, is like, hey, so we want to take this girl and we have to basically perform a surgery on her that's going to kill her and allows us to extract the cure from this girl. Well, Joel's like, wait, no, I've gone too attached because Joel, who the guy you're playing as, you spent about 20 or so hours with this little girl, and you become attached through Joel, and Joel becomes attached through the story and gets like a father-daughter relationship with this girl, and then they're like, hey,
his original daughter dies early in the game, right. So he is kind of holding on to memories of his daughter this whole game too.
Right. He doesn't want to lose a daughter figure again. So basically he's like, nah, fuck this, fuck the world, I'm just gonna save her because I am selfish, I guess.
And the whole point of this game was to save humanity, you thought.
Right. Yes. And then you basically break in and kill a lot of very well-armed people and save this girl, but basically say fuck the world. And traitor. So that makes Joel the villain to the entire world because he stopped the cure from happening.
But then explain the end if you want to.
But then so Ellie kind of finds out that that's what happened, but she just kind of rolls with it and looks at Joel in the face, and she's like crying, and she's like, okay. Like she just kind of
like, well, hold on, you're being too vague. I think like at the end, like she's asking him, like, did she ask him what? Did she go? Did all those people die?
I can't remember it word for word.
She basically asked him a question like, promise me that I guess I should think of you in good faith still, or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was something along the lines like, promise me that like I don't need to be there to save the world, something like that.
Yeah, and then he just straight
like, the right thing happened essentially.
He just cold cock just like lies to her face and is like, I promise, and like it's total lie. And it's just and then it fades to black and credits, and she's like, dang.
Yeah, but it very harshly implies that Ellie knows he's like lying, right? But she's just rolling with it.
And then we're kind of hotly anticipating the sequel to see where it goes from there. But so he ends up being a real terrible guy at the end there, really sacrificing, being selfish and holding on to his daughter-like figure to, again, sacrifice humanity. So that's why he's considered one of the best villains. At least he's in our top 10 here.
Right.
So we're going to agree that the Origami Killer, right, takes number 10. So should we reread the list now?
Yeah.
Okay. Since we have a final top 10, okay, we have to whittle this down to the top 5. Okay. Greatest villains in video games. No order particularly yet. We got the Origami Killer, Heavy Rain, Liquid Snake, Metal Gear Solid, Kefka, Final Fantasy VI, Dowd, Dishonored, Joel, The Last of Us, Tom Nook, Animal Crossing, yes, GLaDOS, Portal, Andrew Ryan, Bioshock, Flowey, Undertale, and Voss, Far Cry 3. Why are you shaking your head, Robert?
Nothing. Okay, so
just wearing you down.
No, it's just
okay. I will say,
man, it's just the nooks and crannies of this list.
Dudes, you haven't even played the game. I'm telling you, you will. I'm just blowing
air on this fire right now.
I'm just saying. No. Okay, go.
Should we make another list on top, like an ordered list now? On top of this one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So we need to.
I will concede already. I think maybe we should do like. I think I would definitely concede that Tom Nook can be number 10. I'm fine with that.
Guys, if we were live streaming this, the fucking live stream chat would be going nuts right now.
I could only imagine, yeah. So I think Tom Nook is number 10.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
That soothes my soul a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, and then I don't know, maybe we should just go around the corner again. I don't know how to do this now that we've got a final top 10 and to order it. Like I don't really know. Maybe just generally discuss it or what?
Here's the thing: if we were Watch Mojo, we'd be done. Like this is it. Kind of.
They would just cut it. Yeah, like they don't care.
Just top 10 done. Whatever.
There's 10 there. Yeah, but this is an ordered list. We're coming down to the stakes are high, guys. This is the greatest villain in video game history with the Tiny Disc podcast stamp of approval.
Well, let's just cut this down to 5, and then we'll order from there.
Whoa.
No, that's tough.
Yeah.
Okay. I think.
What? Can't do that.
Okay. I'm looking at this list.
I'm
looking at this list, and I see Kefka is definitely a top 5.
Yep.
Yes.
Like it's just undeniably Kefka's in there.
I haven't even played the game, but I can agree.
Bold Kefka. 6.
There you go. That's the only one I look at, and I'm like, yeah, that's for sure.
No. I think GLaDOS.
GLaDOS top 5
is in the top 5. 1,000,000%. Yes.
That's very strong. Yeah, I can agree with that one.
Collin?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I've played both Porter games, though.
Yeah, Wheatley, could argue a spot on here, but we're not going to.
Yeah, I mean, GLaDOS is just classic,
Okay,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I think I'm gonna make an argument either for Dowd or Andrew Ryan to be in the top 5.
I'm good with Andrew Ryan.
Well, I don't mean like either or, but like both of them I think are very strong candidates.
Okay. I don't know Dowd.
Okay.
So
I don't know Dowd, so you're gonna have a hard sell. I'm open to hearing about Dowd. I think we need to. I think Andrew Ryan is not in the top 5.
You don't think so?
Really?
Okay, well,
not in my personal top 5.
Let's tackle.
Why is Tom Nook on the top list twice?
Just because I'm copying from the bottom to the top. So use the bottom list as your main reference point.
Okay.
So let me just make my argument for Dowd, because I'm pretty sure I'm fighting a losing battle here. Because you both.
Well, I'm open to it. I'm open to hearing.
Right. So with Dowd, as far as you guys have gotten, well, I guess, Jack, you're the one who played, and you played like, what, 4 hours or so,
4 hours about, yeah. And it's not a long game, right? It's only about 12 hours long. But I never got to the blinking yet.
What?
Where you're like the blinking
first
around?
Power. That's the first power you get.
I can't remember. It's a long time ago. Okay, go ahead.
Oof.
Maybe I did.
So Dowd is the guy, spoilers incoming for Dishonored 1 and all of its DLC. Dowd is the guy who kills the Empress, who is basically your character's lover, BT dubs. So he kills basically your wife and kidnaps basically your daughter.
Wait, Dowd's a dude?
Dowd's a dude.
Wait, Dowd's your lover?
No. Dowd kills he kills the Empress.
Okay.
Who is your lover, and then kidnaps
the Empress is your lover, okay.
Right, and then he kidnaps the Empress's daughter, so your daughter.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's painted as like this bad guy the whole time. Right. And when you get closer to like where you finally have a face off with him, you start reading his journal and his notes and stuff, like, because you're infiltrating his hideout and all, right? And you start kind of understanding Dowd more as a character than just as a like, oh, that guy took my wife and took my kids. And you start kind of understanding that he does what he does for a very good reason. And that kind of like the outsider who's like this, the person who gives like, you know, Corvo his powers, and he gave Dowd his powers, you know, the power to like teleport and the power to like be a supernatural assassin. Right. The outsider is kind of somehow pulling the strings. So Dowd is kind of like a puppet in all this, and he's kind of being forced into doing this. And then they've released DLC where it's like 2 very long, hefty like DLCs, like they're maybe 4 hours a piece or so maybe. And you play as Dowd for both of them, and you get to see his side of the story after he kidnaps the daughter. And I mean, I'm not going to get too much into it because it's going to take a while, but essentially he figures out the motivations of another faction and deals with them to prevent Corvo from dying, essentially. Because if Dowd hadn't done that, the main game wouldn't have happened. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And you find out that he's being manipulated all along, and that he's really just a good guy trying to make his way in the world, and the best way he can do that is be a damn good assassin. And you know, he has like no malicious intent for Emily, the daughter. So I mean, he basically becomes one of those villains, right? Where when you first see him in the game, in the main game, you get to choose whether you kill him or you let him live based on that limited information of like what you gather in the main game. And then the DLC fleshes it out and basically makes you feel good if you know, let him live and regret the fact that if you kill him, you know?
Right.
So he's a good villain in that you think of him in one light, and then once you really understand what he does and what his motivations are, he's much more than just the villain. He's just like another guy being manipulated by the outsider, just like Corvo is.
So there's a storyline where you can make an early decision where he dies and he just doesn't exist in the storyline?
No, it's like the Dowd DLC is happening concurrently with the Corvo DLC. Okay. And it gets to the end where, you know, like the end of the Dowd DLC is the end where you meet Dowd in the main story.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Interesting.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you're facing what I face with Tom Nook, where we just have to kind of imagine it in our heads and then weigh it against things that we know ourselves internally. So where do you realistically see him? You see him in the top 5?
If he is, he's probably 5.
Do you want to try and cross this bridge now, or do you want to wait?
Well, I say let's look and see what other choices people have.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely in top 10 already. Like, you know, hats off. Like,
yeah.
So, but what we're doing now is we're trying to lock in like
our top
5.
Like
you see him at number 5 right now.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Collin? Do you think there's 5 better ones?
I mean, based on that argument, like I'm all about character development and depth, and I like the sounds of that crazy plot twist. I've never played the game. I plan on playing it maybe at some point eventually, but
I'd love to play it. Yeah, I just need the time, man.
Right. So, I mean, if you say he's at least worth the number 5 spot, then I'll take your word for it because it sounds pretty intriguing.
For me, there's definitely 5 others.
Okay.
We don't have to order right now, but you know, before. I
mean, I'm pretty like if he does make it, that's fine. If he doesn't, then
right.
I'm not
okay.
gonna fret too much either.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna try and pick one that maybe we can all agree should be in the top 5.
Okay.
I think Flowey from Undertale is one of the most charismatic, most entertaining, but yet most just I hate you so much. I hate you so much.
It's going to be a hard sell because Collin hasn't played it, and to really truly understand and truly get why Flowey is so bad, we need to spoil the entire game for him.
Flowey is in the top 3 locked for me of this top 10 list.
Like save me the spoilers, and if you guys feel that strongly about it, I'll take your word for it.
I think he should be number 3 right now. For right now.
Like no shit.
Yes.
Like, yeah, no doubt. Okay.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm shocked you haven't played Undertale yet because it's so short. What is it, about
It's like 6 to 8 hours maybe.
did you? But all the way through, I think you can get probably 12 hours out of it if you get the true ending.
Right.
You need to get the true ending, Collin, to really experience this game. It's totally worth it. Mm-hmm. Totally worth it.
So what I'd like to do then.
So awesome. Okay, so
let's see. We need to start making progress.
Yes.
So, what do we all feel about Voss?
Haven't played it, so
that Voss is absolutely number 5 for me.
Yeah, he's in my top 5 for sure.
4 or 5. 4 or 5.
I've played a little bit of Far Cry 3, but I don't think it's
Hold
enough
on, we didn't put
form an argument.
Do we agree Flowey number 3?
I'm not 100% on that one yet.
You don't want to put him up there yet?
I'm not completely sure on it yet.
Well, he's in the top 5. We need to get this list down to 5.
We do. Okay, so who are your top 5 right now then, Jack? Who are you thinking like these are the 5? Maybe not necessarily in that order.
Okay.
But who are those 5?
Okay, for me, Kefka, GLaDOS, Flowey, Voss, and Tom Nook, just kidding, Liquid Snake.
Okay. Collin, do you see 5 names that are jumping out to you immediately?
Well, we said so
get close to the mic, Collin.
Well, sorry. So Kefka, GLaDOS, obviously. Joel's up there for me. Joel and the Origami Killer are there for me because the whole idea of playing as the villain the whole time is pretty mind blowing to me.
Shadow of the Colossus did it first.
It's true,
and other games have done it first. It's kind of a plot device that I don't know.
I don't know. Flowey's up there, obviously, if you guys can vouch for it.
If it means anything about the Origami Killer, I totally forgot about that till you reminded me. So it didn't really apparently make a huge impression on me.
Well, if I had to choose one, I would probably choose Joel over the Origami Killer personally, but because it's a much grander scale. Like Joel's basically like fuck the entire world.
Let's get let's get Robert's temperature here on this list, and if there's like common ones in the top 5, we should just put them up there right now.
Yes, so Kefka, GLaDOS, those are definitely up there. I'm gonna put Dowd up there. I'm feeling Voss for sure.
Okay, Kefka, GLaDOS, Voss, right? Or Collin, did you not say Voss?
I didn't say Voss. I said Joel. I think my main contribution right now is Joel to the top 5.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
because there's some good ones over here.
Okay, this is tough.
Okay, so we're locking in Kefka and GLaDOS.
Yes.
Okay. I think
what's really tough about this now is that there are games on here where some of us are not understanding the right arguments because we haven't all played all of these games.
It's just inevitable, though. We can't play every game.
Right. But I think that means that our definitive list is borked because the 3 pillars of this podcast cannot definitively say.
I wouldn't. I think borked is harsh. It's a collaborative list, so there's going to be winners and losers inevitably.
Do we have to? We can have a top 5, but do we have to have do they have to be ordered?
Yes, it's crucial.
Oh, oof. All right,
it's crucial. Otherwise, this isn't any fun, Collin.
Oh God. Jeez, we are already at the we're at the 2-hour mark.
We're not allowed to talk about the time anymore. We're only working on this list.
Okay, but we're hitting a wall.
Let's work on the list. Okay, no, we're doing top 5, guys. We're doing top 5. So Kefka,
I will argue Voss is in the top 5.
I agree. Do we need to describe this, Collin?
I already hear him talked about a lot. I've played the game to know that the acting is really well done. He plays a really insane character. That whole quote about insanity. I have enough evidence to prove you guys on it. And I know he makes you choose between your friends or whatever. You have to kill one or whatever.
I'll say this about Voss. It's hard for me to remember a time where I felt so intimidated by somebody.
From a video game.
From a video game. He was in my... I really felt intimidated. I really felt weak and small around him. And it's a testament to his acting abilities and the motion capture and just the environment. So I really just remember how he made me feel, and I didn't like it. And I thought that was great.
Because when I think of Voss, it's you can find you can find a movie with that exact same character, probably a dime a dozen in Hollywood. You know what I mean? That character's, it's a classic character archetype, right?
It's his performance that sells it.
Right. I think this is the first time in a video game where that character has happened, and it felt like real.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like it held weight. Like it felt the same way you feel when you watch a Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I'll take your word for it. I played enough of the game to know that, like, you know.
All right, let's bold Voss. Let's get him in the top 10, villain. Top 5, right. I mean.
Okay, bolding him. All right.
Or okay, we have like kind of 3 bolded right now, right? Can you move them up to the top list?
Yeah, sure. It's getting messy. Let's just use the second list. Let's look at who's bolded.
Okay.
Just do that.
Well, I was going to say, would it be easier to just do the top would it be easier just decide who is the bottom 5 and then that way we'll know who's in the top 5 and then we can argue the order?
Yeah, that's the process I'm trying to do right now, is trying to figure out who to bold, who is we all can agree is definitely top 5 material.
Okay.
Because right now there are flying arguments for Origami Killer, Liquid Snake, Dowd, Joel, and Flowey.
Okay, Tom Nook obviously is at number 10, so he's in the top 5. I would put also in the bottom 5. Oh, this is getting hard.
Yeah, it's tough.
Why don't you like Liquid Snake, dude?
Why don't I like Liquid Snake?
He's so evil.
Okay, he's so evil, but he it's such a boring archetype. Oh, I'm the brother that got the bad genes, so I'm gonna be bad. Like, that's kind of his character.
But when you pay attention to the story, you find out he really got the good genes, and Solid Snake is the one that got the bad genes.
Right.
That's awesome.
Okay, but Ocelot is a way better villain. If we're talking Metal Gear,
way more notable.
Ocelot is incredible because not only is he like you can never trust him because who knows what side he's on, if he's even on a side, right? And you get to see all facets of him. You get to see him when he's like a young kid who doesn't even know how to spin his revolvers anymore, etc.
Okay, I'll say this: I'm not sensing a great deal of support for Liquid Snake. So, for the sake of brevity, if you two don't feel that strongly about him, then he can be in the bottom 5. That's fine.
I mean, love Metal Gear. Liquid Snake's like a really cool character. But
so you're saying if we were talking about Shalashaska, the Lale Lule Lo, then we'd have a talk here. Is this an omission here? Like, should we change it to Shalas? Like, does he deserve a spot in the top 10?
Ocelot? Like, oh man, now we're starting all over.
My name is Revolver Ocelot.
No, I'm just saying, should we just do a hot swap here? Like, did we just pick the wrong bad guy for Metal Gear?
Maybe, but
even so, I don't know if Revolver Ocelot worthy of being in the top 5.
I don't know. I think Ocelot's a hard character to pin. I think it's hard to say if he's ever definitively a villain or a good guy, you know what I mean? So I think it's hard to pin him there. If we were doing like top 5 best characters in video games, like Ocelot would definitely be talked about, I think. But because
he has to do villainous things and to be a villain,
I think he has to
torturer. Yeah, I think it's tough to pin Ocelot one way or another. So I say, for the sake of brevity, let's not deal with that in this discussion.
So you're not okay with just swapping out Shalashaska for Liquid Snake and putting him in the bottom 5 of the top 10? You'd rather have Liquid Snake there?
Well, I mean, I guess I'd rather have Ocelot there, but
that's what I propose. I think we should just change it to Revolver Ocelot and put him in the bottom 5.
Cool. All right, but he's not in the top 5 anyway.
No,
we've all agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. So, moving on.
We kind of left this flying, but I cannot see a world. I cannot imagine a world where Flowey is not in the top 5 here. And just because Collin hasn't played it, like, that's not reason enough for me not to include him in the top 5. I can't even think. I cannot think of a bad guy like that. Period.
Yeah.
Just the ingenuity with just the game overall, the story overall. I can't imagine a world where he's not in top 5.
Yeah, I guess part of me is just afraid of it because it's like that just means there's one more. There's only one more slot.
No, I
know
get
what
it.
I mean?
No, I do, but I just can't imagine him not being in the top 5.
No,
we have to start talking about ordering it still. So
We do. Okay, Collin.
So yeah, just
Collin, you're good with that.
Like, if you guys can argue strongly enough that he needs to be there, like no shit. Then
I feel like I've gotten a lot of my picks in the top 5. So let me know, Collin.
My money's still on.
There's only one spot left, so I'll let you guys fight it out. Like, who do you want?
Joel. My money's still on Joel.
Can I throw my hat in the ring for Tom Nook?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I've come around. Throughout this episode, I kind of been Wikipediaing him.
Don't you bullshit me, Robert Scarpanito.
Don't you play with my heart.
Do this to me. No, I'm fine with him top 10.
Okay. Joel, I am... Because right now it's basically Joel, Origami Killer, or Andrew Ryan, right?
I thought we said, was Andrew Ryan still in?
Is he still in?
He's in play. He's in the top 10.
Oh. Yeah, well, okay. I thought we said something about him not... Because I think...
I was saying he shouldn't be in the top 5, but that was just me saying that. It doesn't mean...
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Andrew Ryan's a pretty hard, like, her pretty hard pass.
It sounds to me like... I don't know. I mean, it sounds to me it's between Origami Killer, Joel, and Andrew Ryan. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
For the last spot.
I think as much I do love Andrew Ryan as a character, I love Andrew Ryan as a villain. But I definitely think in terms of scale, Joel has it. Because Joel, I mean, he basically takes away the one cure that would cure the entire world, and he basically says, fuck you guys. I'd rather just have my daughter.
I guess. Of those, I'd lean toward the Origami Killer, because the only reason I don't feel comfortable putting Joel on like a top villains list is because when I think of all these villains so far, there's something consistent about them that makes them evil and that makes you hate them. Whereas with Joel, it's just that final act of what he does. That's kind of...
I guess that's fair, because there's like the Origami Killer, there's implied malicious intent throughout the entire game.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas it's not like Joel is constantly stealing daughters. It's not like he's constantly...
That's fair.
Yeah, he doesn't have a closet full of Ellies or something.
Right, and like, because the Origami Killer's still like, oh, well, if the kid dies, he fucking dies. Like,
So that's my only argument when I lean, like, for me, leaning toward the Origami Killer. And I think what we'd need here is Jack to be the tiebreaker based on those two arguments. What do you think? What speaks more to you? One very big heinous act, or multiple like smaller scale but still evil acts that are consistent?
Like, wait, is Collin okay with me being the tiebreaker?
I mean, Origami Killer or Joel, like, I mean, I understand the argument for the Origami Killer, because it's not like Joel, like...
Well, Joel...
Like, he's consciously doing it, but, like, he's not going out of his way to hurt people.
We never mentioned this, but I was the one that put Joel on this list, and he was actually the very first person when we decided to even create this list. He was the very first thing that popped in my head.
Fuck. I mean... I don't know, like, I'm okay with Joel, and I'm also okay with the Origami Killer at the same time. So
here's something to think about. Origami Killer kills a few kids. That's pretty bad. Joel potentially is trying to destroy the entire human race.
But the thing is, it's not like Joel is consistently making that decision. It's not like
he made that ultimate decision. It's only about the ultimate decision.
I don't know, because when the
chips are on the table, man, cards are down.
When I think of villains,
himself.
I think of what it speaks to their personality, right? Is that you can see that Joel is compassionate, and he's obviously taking the benefit of one instead of the benefit of many, right? Whereas with the Origami Killer, he has no remorse, and if he was never stopped, he would continue to do that forever. You know what I mean?
Right. So plus in the side of Joel's things, I mean, there's a sequel coming out, so it could... things could change. It's kind of a variable.
I don't like all this pressure from me to make the decision.
I mean, I have a feeling I know what decision you're going to make.
I'm really thinking in my head. I mean, to me also, the Origami Killer got stopped and Joel is still at large.
Oh my god!
Unless like they just kill him off in the first hour of part 2.
That ain't happening. I don't know. Who knows? With the beginning of Last of Us, who even knows?
Yeah,
he could die in Ellie's arms.
Like, oh, fuck all that character development from the first game.
He could totally die in Ellie's arms. That could totally happen.
Oh my god! They make it just like, oh my god, that'd be terrible.
Oh, that would be
awful.
Yeah. Ellie finds her new father figure.
Guys, what about Andrew Ryan though?
You want to bring him back up?
What about Andrew Ryan?
I mean, he makes a lot of lists.
He does.
That was such a revelation in video game history. It was a commentary not just on villains, bad guys, idealists, and utopia. You know, it was more commentary on video games as an entertainment medium.
Yeah.
It was such a landmark thing that happened, and it's just such an awesome long con, the whole game, and then just one of those epiphanies that when it happens you're like, fuck, oh shit, yeah, you were just mind blown, a genuine mind blowing moment for me.
Yeah.
I think maybe Andrew Ryan, maybe top 5.
Here's a wild thought. Top 7.
No,
Tiny Disc Podcast, top 7 villains of all time.
No, rip the Band-Aid. I'm almost going Andrew Ryan.
Fuck.
Over both those guys.
How about top 5, but the 5th one is a 3-way tie?
No. That's like a top 7. You are a loophole bastard.
I'm just glad you had to think about that one for a minute. It's like, hold on, was that okay? Does that work?
No, it's not. No, I'm almost going. So I hate it to be a 3-way fight now, but I'm almost thinking Andrew Ryan, and you're biting your finger pretty hard, Collin. What are you thinking about? BioShock. That was the best BioShock game, guys. The first one.
Hold on.
Okay. Let's think of let's. So, what this comes down to for me is who's doing more bad.
It's not the most bad guy. It's the best.
Well, I understand that, but listen, we have to grade by that too, because all 3 of these guys have done some sort of heinous act. And they all are well-developed characters. But I think since they're all so well-developed characters, because they're so attached to the player throughout their entire games, you have to break it down to who did the baddest bad thing.
What are you saying?
So who did the baddest bad thing?
Yeah. So who affected the most people? Who just like...
Oh, that's easy.
You know what I mean?
That's incredibly easy. You just paint yourself into a corner. It's Andrew Ryan, because there's always a man, there's always a girl, and there's always a lighthouse.
A lighthouse.
Infinite. So it's Andrew
That's
Ryan.
True, because even beyond fucking Joel with The Last of Us and fucking all of humanity up, as far as we know, because we haven't gotten the sequel yet, but Andrew Ryan, that game stems into multiple universes.
This is a terrible argument.
Here, can I make a much better argument for why Andrew Ryan should be in the top 5? And
if we're all fighting for it, why don't we just put him there? Make it easy.
No, I do think he will be there now, but I think this is a very important argument to make, because I think it will shape how we decide our top 5 in order. Every one of the people in our top 5 now, reminder, Voss from Far Cry 3, GLaDOS from Portal, Kefka Final Fantasy VI, Flowey from Undertale, and now possibly Andrew Ryan from BioShock. All of those villains in some way are landmarks and revolutionized video game storytelling in some fashion.
Interesting.
Voss, right, is one of the very first villains who was like voice acted and motion acted so very, like he was a believable human being.
Oh yeah.
In front of you. GLaDOS, one of the very first villains who could show you like, I can be funny and also you can hate my guts but also really love me.
And probably the best voice acting in a villain that I can think of.
Oh yeah. At the time too, because Portal was like early thousands, right? It was
2006, 2007.
Or was it 2005? Yeah. Might be 2005.
It was 2007.
Okay.
Well, and then Kefka, I think, like set a new standard, for like evil.
1,000,000%.
In a Final Fantasy or like really any game at that time, because that was what, 94, 95?
94.
Yeah. So that was, I mean, it's early in the gaming industry for sure, and there are probably like bad guys nowadays who are like more quote evil and have done worse things, but like Kefka just he'd
be hard pressed,
still a tough,
man.
Yeah, it's a tough argument, yeah, for sure, but Kefka is like pure evil, right? And then Flowey, can't say too much, but Jack, I think you and I can agree that the way Flowey was done is such a landmark in storytelling.
You know what I'm really looking forward to as well, as far as the podcast goes? Like, I can't wait to hear about Collin's experiences in Undertale, taking it down, undertaking it for the first time. Like, I'm very interested. You need to get on that game as soon as it comes out.
Maybe I should live stream my reaction.
It's a great game. I just can't wait to talk about it more openly. I might play through it again too. It's worthy of that.
So, but with that argument in mind, are we now all definitely okay with having Andrew Ryan in the top 5?
Yeah.
Because BioShock is a landmark game.
No, that isn't. I mean, the ending to Last of Us was polarizing, and the thing about it is that I might have mentioned to you guys in passing, but it actually spoilers for The Godfather. It actually just totally rips off the ending of The Godfather.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's derivative. So a little bit that has to decrease it a little bit for me. Just ever so slightly. I mean, still in the top 10, Congrats.
Right.
But, yeah.
So now we have to decide on order, right?
Yeah, I think it'd be easier to do the bottom 5 real quick. I think Tom Nook definitely should be number 10. I think...
I don't know if we need to do the bottom. I think we just need to do the top 5.
No, we don't need the bottom 5.
Well,
going.
Let's give them their due, though. They didn't make it in the top 5, but in no particular order, Joel from The Last of Us, Tom Nook, Animal Crossing, and where am I? I'm losing it.
Origami Killer from Heavy Rain, Dowd from Dishonored, and Ocelot from Metal Gear Solid.
You guys didn't make it, but you're among the best villains. So say we. So now we have to come up. All right, let's do a summation here of the final 5 in no particular order yet. Again, congratulations, Foss from Far Cry 3, GLaDOS from Portal, Kefka, Final Fantasy VI, Flowey from Undertale, Andrew Ryan, BioShock. Again, all of them having signature landmark roles to play in the history of video games, which is why they are in our top 5 greatest video game villains of all time. So congrats to the finalists here. Now we have to order them.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so I don't know, like, I know Voss pretty well, or I've played at least a little bit of Far Cry 3. I've played both Portal games, have not played Final Fantasy VI or Undertale. So
what do you have against sprites, man?
Nothing.
Just joking.
I mean, I know it's not as good as Coke, but hey,
dad jokes. You have been playing too much that dad game.
See, no, don't you know? I mean, he's from fucking Texas. They call everything Coke there.
I'm not from Texas. I live here.
Or he lives in Texas. Whatever. How do you even cope with that, man? I would go crazy.
How do you cope with that? God, you're giving me too much ammo, kids. All right, so
I don't know shit about. I don't really know much about Kefka or Flowey, so
okay.
Well,
so Jack, you mentioned Flowey's a 3.
I'd be very happy if Flowey got number 3.
So
of course I could see him higher, but I'd be happy if he's 3.
Okay, because the thing is, if we all agree that Flowey's 3, that means 4 and 5 have to be not as good as Flowey, and 2 and 1 need to be better than Flowey. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's how numbers work. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's not always how numbers work. But yeah.
My argument, I have an argument that because Andrew Ryan was one of the last ones we thought of, he should probably number 5.
Yeah, I can agree with that one.
Yeah.
I think so. I've never played Final Fantasy VI, but I have read up on Kefka a lot, and definitely top 1, 2, or 3.
Absolutely, he's in the top
for Kefka.
Yeah, I mean, I won't disagree because like Final Fantasy VI is touted as one of the greatest games ever made, and I've seen it in so many lists. I've read about it, so Final Fantasy VI, I have no doubt. It's one of those legendary Super Nintendo games. So,
okay, he's in the top 2, 1,000,000%. Are we making another list here?
I think we can do this all in our heads at this point.
Oh God, okay. For me, GLaDOS was such a revelation in so many ways. That game overall, Portal, was such a masterpiece and so focused. It's only about 4 hours long if you in the second playthrough, you could probably beat it in 2 hours if you just know where to put all the portals. But the cake is a lie. That song, just the humor, the writing. Like, I definitely see GLaDOS in the top 2.
So here's a preliminary thought. In order. Actually in order.
Oh.
Kefka, GLaDOS, Flowey, Voss, Andrew Ryan.
That's my top 5.
I mean, I'm not okay with that.
Let's see what it looks like. Let's see what it looks like.
You made a little.
Let's put it on. Let's commit it to the Google Doc and see what it looks. See how it reads for us.
Okay.
I mean, it's just. I mean, it's going on a lot of, like, read up knowledge since I haven't played Final Fantasy VI, and we're just committing him to the best villain of all time.
See, this
I've
is why
played all 5 of these games. I'm the only one that's played.
This is why I said this list is borked, because at some point, 1 or 2 or 3 of the 3 of us will not be able to fully commit to the list.
I'm the only one, I think, guys on this podcast that have played all 5 of these games, and this right now is the top 5 for me.
I mean, then we're gonna basically have to go on your intuition,
on your word.
Well, what do you guys disagree with, if anything?
I don't really disagree with any of it, to be honest with you. But, like, I just haven't experienced Undertale or Final Fantasy VI, so it's kind of gimping me. Not that I don't doubt the reputation of Final Fantasy VI at all, because I mean, it's an old school JRPG, and it's from that era. So
yeah, and I know I don't have to sell you on this anymore, but I mean, Final Fantasy.
I mean, I've played anything like Chrono Trigger, then I'm pretty sold.
Final Fantasy. See, that's the thing about Chrono Trigger to me, and it's funny we bring this up right now, is that I don't feel any real impending doom when I play that game. I love that game. I'm never going to say a bad word about Chrono Trigger. Okay, it's in my top probably 5 video games of all time. All right, I have it on my shelf right now on DS, and I think it should have been on the SNES Classic, but that's another story. But the enemy to me in Chrono Trigger is so boring, and it's just so hard for me to think of anyone.
You're talking about Magus, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about I can't even remember the name of it. It's not Magnus, I don't think. Lavos, that's it. Lavos, yeah. Magus is a character you play as, and Lavos is. Anyways, it's a very boring end boss, I think, and a very boring end battle as well. Whereas Kefka, all right, you're talking about Final Fantasy. We're talking about, just if you take that series on its face, like, it's a series that has no shortage of incredibly evil villains that are looking to, do that cliche RPG thing of taking over the entire universe or destroying planets, and to say that Kefka stands so far above all of those villains in that entire series alone. I'm looking at this list, and the thing I like about the list, maybe with the exception of Andrew Ryan, is that at least the top 4, they all love being so very bad. And no one is having more fun than Kefka is on this list, and you'll know it when you play it. But I would love to do, I've talked about this a couple times, I'd love to do a playthrough of Final Fantasy VI with you guys and just discuss, because his laugh is so iconic. And how hard is it to make an iconic sounding laugh in a 16-bit cartridge with that sound, right? But his laugh is absolutely iconic. For people that have played Final Fantasy VI, you hear that, you know exactly what it is, and it sends shivers down your spine, like, oh, there he is, Kefka, So I mean, he's just the most evil person on this list, easily, for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I think we need to definitely wrap up, because it has been a long podcast. I don't think we should do a Would You Rather, because that'd probably bring us up to like another 30 minutes.
See, I'd be fine. I think I'm ready for another hour. I'm not even joking. I totally could do it, but I respect your time.
Yeah, and also, there's a lot of other things we have to consider about length. So I think we should probably just get toward the end of this. I think, Jack, you had a clarification you wanted to make about comments from last week.
Yeah, so hold on. Let's give this list this final due.
You want to recap our top 5
Are we ready to lock it in?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, guys. So Tiny Desk Podcast, this is the first time we've done this type of thing. I think towards maybe about 4 or 5 months from now, 3 or 4 months from now, when it's kind of game of the year time, we're gonna have many more lists that probably take this long as well. So we might have to spend more money to get longer podcasts up there to facilitate that. But anyways, we'll start at number 5, greatest video game villains of all time. Andrew Ryan from BioShock. Number 4, Voss, Far Cry 3. Number 3, Flowey, Undertale. Number 2, GLaDOS from Portal. And number 1, Tiny Disc Podcast official, best, greatest, awesomest villain in video game history. I'm so happy to say this. Kefka, Final Fantasy VI. Oh, one of my favorite games of all time. I was just today looking at some fan-made Etsy shadow boxes based on Kefka's battle in Final Fantasy VI.
Nice.
Like, it's still so celebrated. It's still so iconic a character and a game. And so I'm very happy to see him number 1. It's definitely my pick. So, all right, guys, we did good. It looks like we definitely want to wrap up. I don't know. Real quick, just the clarification I had last week. We were talking a little bit about the dirt that GameStop does and how they'll squeeze every penny out of consumers. And so what I accidentally said last week was that I said that they sat on a box, giant crates of Xenoblade Chronicles and Metroid Prime Trilogy, and then they sold them used. They repackaged them. They sold them used for $60. That's not exactly the case, because who would care if they sold them for the same price that the games would cost brand new? So what they actually did, and I just kind of gleamed over this a little bit, I want to clarify, is they took brand new video games, they opened up the boxes, and they repackaged them, and then they represented brand new games as used games in GameStop so they could increase the price to $90 a piece, because it's actually illegal in this country to sell, games higher than suggested retail price, apparently. And the only way they could kind of skirt that system is if they said, oh, these aren't new games, these are used games, that's why they cost $90 now instead of $60. So that's what I wanted to clarify. That's how wrong. That's the lengths that GameStop will go to milk you of every penny you have. And
yeah, that is ridiculous, because they got exclusive rights to sell Xenoblade Chronicles and they were selling it at $80.
Absolute garbage. So again, just another reason. So I just want to clarify that from last week. I don't know if that hit as hard as I intended it to, but that's the truth. Look it up. That's what they do, and they'll continue to do things like that in the future. And of course, the SNES coming out, that's going to just breed more of this bundling and everything that's so terrible for the industry. So that's it, though.
Yeah, so with that, we're getting into the end of our podcast. Sorry for not being able to do another Would You Rather this week, but I think there's more than enough content here. If you're already, if you're this far in, thank you for listening.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thanks if you are 2 hours, 40 minutes
Thanks for sticking through that ramble.
Goodness.
Yeah, because this is our first time doing something like this. So, there are probably things that could be made better for next one. So, if you have any feedback, do hit us up. So you can hit us up on Twitter at TinyDiscPodcast, or you can shoot us an email at tinydiscpodcast@gmail.com. That should be all. Oh, and we also have our Facebook group. We have the Tiny Disc group, correct, Collin?
Yeah, so the Tiny Disc group on Facebook, just we have an official page on Facebook as well that just called Tiny Disc. I'm pretty active in our Facebook group every Tuesday at 8 p.m. until I say otherwise. I'm going to do a live hangout and Q&A with everyone in the group.
Oh, fun.
So be sure to come leave your comments, questions, concerns, or just chat with me in the chat. Ask me any questions, or just talk with me whatever I'm talking about that day, man. So
Also, real quick, the cutoff for our contest, we need 5-star reviews on iTunes or on the Google Play Store. The cutoff date for that is August 15th. So you have till that time, but I would urge you to do it sooner rather than later. You have the chance to win a big cash prize. Again, just leave a 5-star review in iTunes. That's all we need.
Yep. So yeah, that should be everything.
Yes.
The thing that Collin mentioned, the hangout, that's 8 p.m. Eastern time, by the way.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesdays.
Yeah. Yep. And so, that's, definitely thank you guys for this. But I do want to point out one last thing. This entire podcast, you guys don't even know, but Collin and I have been staring at a man wearing a bright pink Snuggie this whole time. He actually did it with a straight face, and he looked good doing it. And I just want to paint that picture for the audience here. Kudos to you, Robert.
Damn, did he look good.
Thank you. I mean, all right, sure. The fact that I'm nonplussed by this probably helps paint the picture even better.
He looks like he's just covered in cotton candy.
Yes, as I readjust the Snuggie.
Man, he's got wizard sleeves.
Where can we find you guys online on the internet?
I am at booboo__55 on Twitter, aka Collin and Mono. Come hang out.
At JACCEPEDA on Twitter. Hit me up. Follow me. I follow back.
Very nice. And you can find me, Robert, on Twitter and all the other social medias at PinOptimist, PINOPTIMIST. That's me on all the social media handles. And that should wrap us up for this gargantuan top 5 episode.
Nice.
Top 5 villains, yes.
We did good work today, gents.
We did. I must now bid you adieu from my cold basement, which is why I'm wearing the Snuggie, okay?
Yeah, off to Taco Bell with me, man. I am starving.
No, this basement gets very cold.
Dude, I need you to like go through a drive-through wearing the Snuggie and just record the reaction.
I think that's about to happen right now because we're going to Taco Bell.
Please record the reaction. Oh man,
God.
that'd be good.
No, so tune in. Tune in next week for another episode of the Tiny Disc Podcast, and we'll see you guys next Thursday.
Pink Snuggie.
Peace out. Jesus Christ.
What? How do you do the
I mean, if you say he's not going to be top 5, then...
Hold on 1 second. Jeff, can you not read the sign?
Oh, shoot, sorry.
He just got yelled at by a man wearing a pink Snuggie.
Yeah, he fucking
did. We're leaving this in.
Do we leave that in?
No.
We leave it in.
No, I don't think that's possible. But.